Good morning. Welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the Think Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so called African American didn't come to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous one. Well, where we are now is why are intelligent folks learning that African Americans ain't African? I mean, when you first hear the statement, it should tell you. When you first hear the statement, when you first look at a map of the world, you look at ocean currents, you see all the images that people, intelligent people, are finding, showing the ocean, showing ships in the middle of the ocean. When you see these things, well, you don't even have to see them. You could just hear them. When you hear people traveling by wooden ship in the 1600s to a place that's 5,000 miles away over an ocean, it should automatically occur to you that this is not what's happening. But how we have been trained to not know nothing. We'll believe shit like two men can have a baby. That's your Christianity, by the way. Read it. It tells you right there, but we don't read it. We can believe that we're black, furthest thing away from black. We believe this stuff. We say it every day. This is what I mean by we're trained. Doesn't have to be true. We're just trained to say that, and we'll argue you down just so we won't look stupid anymore. This is what the African American does. So today, and what we show you today, and we hope that you have your thinking caps on. We hope that you put on your thinking caps for this because I think this is going to be one of the last times we do a program like this because, damn, y'all, for real. And you would rather pass on the bullshit that you've been passed down to your kids, and you see the situation that this current generation is in. The reason the current generation is in this position is because the previous generation chose not to teach them a goddamn thing. So, we're going to show you some things this morning. And if you don't get this, and this audience will, of course, but it's so simple. It's simpler than wiping your ass. So, joining me this morning, two fine young ladies who, when we first met, they got it. Matter of fact, they got it before I got it. The Mac Nation, and you all know her as Miss Lisa Cypress and her beautiful daughter, Nay. How you guys doing this morning?
How you doing? Well, doing well. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. Woke up this morning, there's snow outside. I'm
What?
not feeling.
Snow
Yeah,
in Alabama? Wow.
snow in
I don't think
Alabama. Can you believe it?
snow in Alabama. Yeah, that's crazy.
Boo,
Ooh,
boo.
is it real or is it that fiberglass stuff? What is it? What is it?
Uh, I
Is it
haven't been out to see it yet, but I will in a minute.
mm-hmm. All
But I
right,
know it's
yes, and
I know it's freezing, or it was freezing last night. So, but we're good to go. How you doing this morning, Naomi?
she
I'm doing all right. I'm looking for our flag to put as my background. But yeah, I started off the morning pretty spicy because everybody, the cold weather is making everybody coochie hurt. So no one's trying to be outside, which is a good thing, especially in Atlanta, because people can't drive. I was on two
Facts.
TikToks before I got on this TikTok. One was like a delineation TikTok, and they were talking about hip hop, and I talked about how one of my old classmates was a Nigerian second generation immigrant. Well, second generation. He's not an immigrant, but and how when things went left with us, he was like, "Yeah, that's why my people whooped your people," and I'm like, "What? Are you kidding?" So I went on that live, and another live was like, "Oh, y'all black Indians," which is like very derogatory. I should scalp you for that statement. Y'all black Indians was in caves, and y'all don't have no culture. Y'all got your culture from Africans and the European. So I went up there and I packed them the freak out. I just showed two primary sources, and then somebody got up in arms about it, like, "Oh, they didn't mean that." I'm like, "You want me to pull up the freaking Virginia company London records and then make you more upset?" So that's been my morning. So I'm doing pretty great.
Oh,
You gonna go live on TikTok with this? You really should.
uh,
It's
I,
Gonna be
no, no.
they could. They could.
I
You
don't,
don't want to do
I
it?
don't, I mean, my
Should.
thing is, we could, yeah, but who? I mean, I don't want to go live anyways. I don't know.
Oh,
If it's one thing we can patch it through StreamYard and have it more seamless, yeah. But
I was just gonna hold the camera up and just kind of just let them get
Yeah,
it
that
done.
doesn't work for me.
I know it doesn't work
yeah,
for you.
I'd
Can you
rather
do
have
it?
it patched through StreamYard. It makes more sense for
I
Right.
TikTok.
don't know. StreamYard, does StreamYard have a TikTok link? I don't know.
I
But anyway,
mean, yeah, we can work on that later. I mean, this is just like, cause he was
it's
trying to say, this one guy was like, "Oh, well, uh, who owns BET?" And we're like, "Didn't BET get sold? So why are you trying to use BET as a reason?" Because Eminem. Oh yeah, well, everybody loves Eminem. I'm like, you say
do they
that, but people in the street don't listen to Eminem like that. So
more?
I was
Yeah.
like, what's the logic of,
And
okay, we want to mimic you and copy you and devour you, and we don't want interruptions. That's what it seemed like from that live.
right.
Well, let's jump into it.
Let's jump into it because the people want to hear this.
Check
All
this
right.
out, you guys. This is you. You see if you can't see the image, it's some people using AI coming across the Atlantic Ocean and look like makeshift canoes.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
if you know anything about if you've been on a cruise or you know anything about the ocean, especially in the middle of the ocean, you know damn well a ship is not coming across. I keep saying ship. It's not a ship, it's a little boat
Right.
coming across the Atlantic Ocean, packed with people pissing and shitting on each other, vomiting,
Yeah.
getting to the shore of America,
Yeah.
getting off the ship, waiting
Yeah.
to be
Sound like
sold.
this. Yeah. Like this. Like looking like this. Looking pitiful.
Look,
Looking sad.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
them.
That's them. That's what they be like. Just like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
this is these are
How
the
you
people telling you your story.
with the rats and everything all bumped up
Everything.
on top of each other. Yeah. That's it. That's what it
Look,
is.
huh?
That's it. Yeah. That's how they
You
be. That's
have
all.
people that'll argue that this happened.
Yeah. They want to believe that. They want to
This
believe
this
that.
so you can see how people laugh at us, talk all like especially Africans. I wish one would step to me with some dumb shit. Come on, y'all. I mean, this is what we teach our kids.
That's before we even start the discussion. Before we can even start the discussion, we have to deal with the fact that we actually believe. Why would you actually believe? Look at this. Look at this. How in the world are you going to be piled up on each other, urine, vomit, period, blood from your wounds, because you're going to have wounds, and how is that? How is that? We're gonna do. How can you be so crazy counting down? It's got 20. We got 25. I think 25 different numbers to this countdown to make it make sense. Countdown make the slave trade make sense. Okay, because it don't. Okay, we got 25 or more slides to go. That we're gonna have to make some reason out of unreasonableness, and this we cannot. We cannot look at this. Disgusting. And worse than that, imagine it's worse than that. Imagine the stench. Because see, I've had the experience of dealing with a fresh African. Because I went to college and my ex-husband, then boyfriend, had the first African on the basketball team as a roommate. And he did not want deodorant, washing, or anything to do with soap, water, or deodorant. And the stench made your eyes water and made you gag. Okay. And everybody on the team, off the team, my ex was the photographer for the team. Everybody was begging the coach. Everybody was begging this man. I'm sure his teachers, because he couldn't walk into the classroom without lighting the hallways up, the classrooms up, the buildings up. So imagine the stench, because that was just one dude, one rather nice dude, but funky, but very funky.
Charles Johnson, great day to you also. Good morning. Caillou, brother.
Good morning, everybody. Yes.
So,
thank you for
Lisa, please go ahead.
Yeah. So this is, that's the thing. We just have to get this. We have to get this very clear. Hey, how you doing, Charlize? This is Sharice. We have to be real about this. We have to understand how difficult and disgusting this had to be. Okay. All right. The main reason we talk about who we are is because our families tell us who we are. They always told us that we always been here and we are Indian. That's why. It's common. Daggone Henry Gates made fun of it. All African Americans think that they're Indian. Everybody think they got some Indian. Yeah. Why is that a common story? Why does every single Negro say that they're Indian? Because it's damn true.
Yeah, you got to remember too, a lot of that stuff is made for TV because they never have nobody disputing it, because they get ripped to shreds. And I think, and it seems to me that all these TikToks, all these live that people are talking about, because people are getting the information, yeah, but they're getting the information and they're putting their own spin of what they already learned on top of it. You don't do that.
Right.
You just simply go to the source, especially if it's a living source. I mean, damn, this is simple. If somebody's telling you something, why would you go somewhere else to get the source if you think is valid enough for you to repeat what they're saying? The black
Right.
man don't do that. He'll add some Hebrew Israelite shit to it, some more stuff, and screw it all up.
Clear. Yes, you must connect the Wi.
Sorry.
ERC here. Yes, launch the app and connect it.
Oh Lord. Sorry.
So this is what I'm saying. This is why I say go to your families. And one more thing. Does the Negro in America, do they look like anybody from anywhere else? Simple questions like that you have to ask yourself. Do the women here look like women from Africa? No. That should kill it right there. We don't even ask questions like that. I mean, simple stuff. We'll just go on with, well, the Bible said, And we'll start down that road. And we'll teach our children that stuff. And like a good Christian, put them out the house if they don't go with it. So everybody in your family has told you this information, everybody. But you still go believe, you still go eat out of somebody else's mouth with some other bullshit. So a lot of things that happen to us, it's on us because we refuse that. All that I'm scared and all that, that's over. The African American has dug him a hole so deep. We're about to find out if we can even begin to ascend from it. Okay, Lisa. So Charles the Realist say Christianity was an indoctrination. I'll go a little further than that. Do you know that the Christians were the ones who led the army to you? Do you understand that? The church was the lookout scouts. They come with that, we Jesus coming to save you. And they're the ones who led the army to come into where you lived to wipe you out. And guess what you do to this day? Not the listeners, of course. Guess what the church do to this day? Still work for them. And that's why when you ask the people in the church anything about the church, they don't know. They know nothing. Absolutely. They don't even know nothing about what they're doing. They're just doing it because everybody else is doing it. Well, not everybody else. Because if you got a family like mine, the men didn't go to church ever. Why? Because they could read. They could feel the energy in the room. They could get past the double talk. You've heard that old saying before, white man speak with forked tongue. What do you think that means? Where do you think that comes from? See, the same stuff that's happening today was happening back then. And you're experiencing it. You're experiencing the same thing that your fathers, your grandmothers, your great grandmothers, your great grandfathers, you're experiencing the same thing. Why? Because you refuse to change. And you have the audacity to pass that on to your children. Won't give your children no truth about nothing. Many people just talking about some new year. It's in the dead of winter. What's so new about this? We don't even question that. So this is what's going on with us. But today, you're going to learn this today. Lisa?
Yes, we got to trust our families first and foremost. You know, if you don't trust your mom, your dad, your grandma, your granddaddy, your uncles, your aunties, your cousins, your peoples, then you're already messed up. No one in our family said we were African. Why do you think you're African? You know, what we believe in, what we being guided by. You know, we have to understand that this was a systematic plan that is continuing. Who's navigating it? I think it's probably the big real estate companies, BlackRock, whoever has the most vested interest in the Indians not knowing that we're the landlords. And I would say that would be those big corporations like that, because they have a vested interest in the land that they stole, that we don't understand the land that we own. Right? Right? So yeah, so we have to understand. They systematically removed our identity. Eastern Shore Indians make a long overdue statement on Indianness and race and the process which Indians in Virginia and Maryland are categorized and controlled by white society. The movement from Indian to non-white to free-colored to Negro is a history that has only begun to be told. Yep, that's a fact. I'm not going to talk about that. I don't know what that is. Okay, so I don't know what that is. We're going to get to that. All right. These things. All right. The second thing is Roots is a fiction. Now, a lot of people, whether they want to believe it or not, they started even it's it's really a plot against you when they got a dude who's a former CIA agent who actually writes this book, ex-military, former CIA, writes a book that is complete fiction and stolen. Didn't even write it. Gets sued for $800,000 plus for plagiarism. And yet, what do they do with that same set story? They make remakes of it. They do whatever, 3 or 4 renditions of the damn story, continuations of the story, and they show it in every school in the nation. Really? It ain't even his family. It was written by a white man. You're gonna tell me and then the other thing, the thing that made me so suspicious was every Hollywood star we know was in the damn movie. They scraped up people from the bottom of the barrel. They got people off of Skid Row. They got people out of rehab. They moved people out of jail. OJ was in it. I think he was already locked up. Was he locked up or something? I don't know. But they had everybody in that thing. Everybody. Eartha Kitt. I don't even know. Everybody. Leslie Uggers was playing the child and she was damn 70 years old. It was crazy. It was crazy. What you got to say about it?
How come Ossie Davis and Ruby Dee wasn't in it?
They was in it? Was they in it?
I don't know. I was just
So
trying to make this up.
I think they were grandparents or something back in Africa. You know, they want to be in Africa. I think he was one of them elders up in the there under the tree making drums and shit, cutting penises, something like that.
Well, so you can see what's happening to Hollywood now. I don't know if you remember a song about 30 years ago by Public Enemy called Burn, Hollywood Burn.
Yeah.
Remember that?
No, I don't know. That's a movie?
No, it's a song. It
Burn
was a
Hollywood
major song by Public Enemy called Burn, Hollywood Burn.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know it.
And if we just knew, because one of the reasons I started African American Ain't African, because I figured if the so-called Black person here realized that they were connected to this land, it would plug them back into nature. As you can see, we're having a hell of a time doing that because we have all of the alphabet agencies, like you saying, just mixing stuff up. Hopefully, and it's taking a little longer than I had hoped for, that people start to get it. But why do you think you're getting so much flack off of saying the truth? Why do you think you're getting so much flack off of from different people from different places? Why do you think Native Americans don't come out and say nothing, have a decent conversation with anybody? Now, when they have these different conversations and everybody's agreeing, you know it's bullshit. You can look at them and tell who they are. You should be able to look at anybody and tell where they're from or listen to where they're from by the sound of their voices. African women mimic your women. The men too. The men too.
So do them packies. Them packies. I work with a doctor, and if I close my eyes, I thought I was hearing my brother. I said, that's really creepy that he sounds like my brother. Now, my brother, that's weird, right? So that means you have imitated the indigenous tones, the tonation, sounds, inflex, everything, the dialect down to down to your core. You don't sound nothing like your daddy. You don't sound nothing like your people at all. You sound like my brother. That's weird. That's weird. That's beyond cosplay. It's disturbing.
They pretend that they can come over here and trick you. Why? Because they've always done it. We don't get it. And the cool part is these civil rights all-stars, they're fading away. All that shit that they taught us, Black Panther, civil rights, all that, it should become evident now that it didn't help at all. I know next month they are giving you something called Black History Month. We're going to have to change that up because you don't look for your history one day out of month. You look for it every day. You build on it every day. These are little things that we should be teaching our children because remember, they're here to replace you. And if you leave them with the dumb shit that you've been taught, what do you think is going to be their plight 30, 40 years from now? And remember this is something that you better remember because this generation that's here now, real arrogant, real smart assed. But I just want to let you know about something. And you don't see this now, but you will see it. You see all these immigrants now, and they're over here because they've all sued America to come to America. This is how they're breaking America down. See, the United States went over to their countries to help kill their people out, tear up their land. I don't want to go too far back in history, but this one, of course, for sure. But go check out Vietnam, what they did to those people over in Vietnam. Unlike us, those people have a reverence for their people, their ancestors. The Black man in America don't at all. They remember their people because it was their people who got them here. They remember them people. And see, while we're walking around here talking about Diddy and other non-significant shit, they remember. They see how we acted. And I'm telling you, you better be up on game. They don't forget. They not over here trying to be your friend. They doing one thing from you. Because see, they got us so twisted, we think we're the minority. When you go to Vietnam, the Vietnamese are not the minority. When you go to Jamaica, the Jamaicans aren't the minority. When you go to China, the China aren't the minority. The Chinese aren't the minority. Only when you come to America and 13% of the population, really, from people who used to standardize having 13, 14, 15 kids per family, and you're the minority, there are Negroes that would argue that fact, would tell you that. And this is what I'm saying. You got to at least think. And if you don't know how to think, we'll be giving a tutorial on that real soon. You think it, you say it, and you do it. That's why they leave you in school for so long. Okay, Lisa, hand off. You there, Lee?
Hey, now, you want to say anything about 1619 not being authenticated? Nay?
Yeah, I usually have a habit. What I'll usually do is I will open the Virginia Company of London records. You can start, because I think it starts to, I think I have it pulled up over here, because it starts a little bit before the 16, like a few years before that, right? But all you got to do is go on archive.org, look for the Virginia Company of London Records, Volume 1. There are 4 volumes. Select the first volume and just go down the line. Go from year to year, all the way up to that time period. And you will notice that there's no record of 1619, but there is a record of 1618 with 100 orphans, felons, and slaves being sent from London to Virginia. The only record they have of 1619 is from like the 1930s, and it's obscure, which means it's not even the primary source. It's fraudulent. It's just fake. It's a complete fallacy. And to say, oh no, they stole them, and no, they're at this time period, the person that was in charge of that region in Europe was a control freak. So they didn't know everybody who got on, who was there, how much money they was gonna make. So saying, oh yeah, we took them to Point Comfort and the ship crashed and it was called the Lion or the Polita or whatever. But why is it that it's so hard to find a whole entire slave ship? But why is it that the Boston Tea Party ship is recoverable? And they recreated it from the old ship, but for some reason all of these slave ships is just pieces of wood in the ground, like, oh, this is a piece of this slave ship that got messed up. But if you look at the currents going here to there, it's treacherous, and we're going to have a wooden boat go across the Atlantic, even though we had several instances where the Atlantic took out rich people so many times. Like, come on now. I think I seen a video of somebody. It was a few crew members riding an old steel boat, and they were going, I think, no, Carrie, you had the video. They were on the coast of, they were coming off Turkey, and the boat collapsed. And I mean, the boat was more capable than driving those currents than a wooden boat, and even that boat struggled.
Yeah.
There's shipwreck maps.
Yeah, why you guys are talking, I'll find that to show it. And I'm saying, people, I mean, we got to be the laughing joke of the world, because we believe stuff. And when you believe stuff, check out the word. You become the lie. That's all believe means. You become the lie. So you guys go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and find that video for you real quick.
Right. They
There-
even
there's
go ahead.
so go ahead. You go ahead. I'm trying to look for the Virginia thing.
Which one?
Is it volume 1?
It should be volume 1. Which one is this one? Because I'm looking at, I got too many ones on here. If I find
prisoner, I got transportation of prisoners to Virginia. Transportation.
Oh, this is volume 1. Okay, cool. If not, I can probably just message it to you real quick. Or yeah, you got a MacBook, so you can just pull it from your MacBook.
Okay.
Send it to you. So I'm looking right now.
Yeah, I didn't see, but see, even there, you don't see any. Like I said, we have the actual volumes, but volume 1. But I see here something. What did I go to? I did. go to no. Airdrop. No, yeah.
It is snowing. Yeah, I'm glad. Oh, I hear a siren though. Somebody slow stuff went outside.
But yeah, so I tried to let me see if I can find my screen share. Modern Indians, Department of Justice, Virginia Land Patterns. I'll share that just to get in there. Records of the Virginia Company. Share this tab.
Version somewhere.
Okay, so if you kind of, like I said, but if you go through it page by page, let's go big. You'll see there's nothing about talks about a prisoner.
Okay, while you guys are finding
That's,
that,
so
I
that
found
but that's what, go ahead.
I found the clip.
Oh, cool.
I found the clip. Now this is just like 20, 30 seconds, but
Cool.
don't put too much emphasis on the ship. Pay attention to where they are, and just think to yourself, would this happen in the 16 or 1700s? Check this out.
We ain't got the second class. We got the fourth class. Is it? You're not playing yet?
Is it playing?
I don't hear it. It's not moving. Where is he? Oh, he's still on.
Is he muted? Maybe.
Are you muted? Are you muted? Let me see. Private chat.
Okay, my bad.
Okay.
My bad. I did that totally wrong, but I'm gonna fix it right now.
Okay.
Peace.
And mind you, that's not wood. That's some metal, right?
Yes.
That's steel.
Mayday. This is what the rest alarming. Mayday. Help me, mayday.
Atera is the IT painkiller. Remote monitoring and management. Remote access.
So that's the kind of stuff we believe. So before you go any further, this is what those who are locked into the story are going to say. Oh, that's off the coast of Turkey. That that ain't Africa. That okay. So
It's
let's
worse.
look at it and think logically, if you can, because most people, and I got money on this, anybody want to step up. Most, and when I say most, 90% of black folks and African Americans don't think. They just they're just controlled by their emotions. Turkey is north of Africa. And if you're looking at a map or a globe, you'll see Africa's the center of the world. It's the center. There's movies and songs about it. If it's the roundest part of the world and the earth is spinning on its axis, I don't know if it is or not, but this is what you're trained to believe. If earth is spinning on its axis, right in the center, what do you think the water would be like? It would be like you in the bathtub as a kid going back and forth, making waves. If it's tilting, how they say the earth tilts to the left and to the right, that what do you think the waves will look like? This is why if they tell you anything, because this is the respect they have for you. And you can see the respect they have for you because you won't even think about this. They'll just show it to you and you'll just believe it. Not only will you believe it, you would tell your kids this is where your grandmama and granddaddy came from. So this is what I'm saying, y'all. Come on, damn. Just a little bit of thing. I know it's something that you don't do. I know it's something you don't believe in. I know your head start hurting me, but damn, y'all, just think about the things that you're told. It's not New Year now. We're in the dead of winter. Okay, Lisa, handing it back off to you.
Oh, she's going through her slides.
We got to look at those primary sources, right? We got to make sure they correlate, because if it doesn't correlate with the records of the London company, which they wrote down everything, like everything. So and so didn't show up. So and so lost their job. This one's here. That one's there. This money went here. We brought this in. We got this. We're gonna order this. We're gonna get some of that. I mean, so the fact that they're not gonna talk about something first, like they claim is first. You ask Google how why didn't I learn about 1619 in the 80s and 70s when I was in school? Oh, because it was just talked about in 2019. That's when the project happened, and then it became part of compulsory education. Oh, really? So they just introduced that in 2019 as part of the education plan, and nobody else was taught about that shit. That's interesting. If the court records don't talk about daggone 1619, and you don't have any daggone colonial records that actually mention it, where's the source? There is no source. They changing the story. You'll find out, because as we go into it, that we're gonna talk about how they changed the story on this stuff. So where are the slave ships? That's the other thing. We just looking at ships. Where are those raggedy ships that they said was doing all this transporting? Because if they was able to transport us, like they say it transported us, then they must have been pretty tough ships. And who was these shipbuilders? And where they get the wood? And et cetera, and so on and so forth. Like, that needs to be questioned, because they got old pilgrim stuff and old everything else. How come you ain't got not one to show us this really for real? And then they made a fake voyage got some jigaboos to act like they Africans, or whether they hired Africans and the Clotilde people. Okay, got all these brothers and sisters in daggone, Alabama claiming to be related to them, and they from a voyage from Africa. All this nonsense. Because why? Because they knew that it was about to be, they was about to lose land. They knew that succession was on the table. They was fighting over there they was fighting for land anyway, because niggas had so much land. And they wanted to make it seem like, oh yeah, we still do. There is slave. It is real. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Because we still there going trading y'all. It's all a mind game. That's what they are great at. They're great at mind games. They're really good at mind control, evidently, because they got everybody to walk around with a pair of panties on their face for like a couple of years solid. So they're really good. Okay, that you got to give them credit for. The other thing is, people will say, oh, what about the ship manifest? That ship manifest proved the slavery, you damn. It's that manifest.com, .org. Okay, but they don't align with the colonial records either, baby. Okay, they don't align with nothing. Those ship manifests don't even align with history, because this is the thing about the ship manifest. We got all these ship manifests, right? But we're not even taking into account the wars that's going on both sides. We got the Anglo, Powhatan, the Pequot. They got the damn 30 years where they got all these wars going on overseas where it's depleting their money and using their ships. How the hell they got ships to just go willy-nilly to Africa, fight off in malaria? You know what I'm saying? Because if they was really bringing us from Africa, they would have brought some heated cases of malaria with us, right? They would have brought some hot malaria along with us. You saw that? You saw a soupy mess in that dam that we would be swimming in the bottom of that boat. We would have some raging malaria in America. But that's right, quinine, right, until like 1880 rather. Right. And that's when they decided to explore Africa. The old wooden ships couldn't navigate that treacherous Atlantic Sea. Carrie just showed you. You saw that dang metal ship, real ship got snapped. And they couldn't even say Mayday. They were so nervous. They didn't even know how to say Mayday. They didn't even know how to say, because that's how treacherous that water is. You don't play with that Atlantic Ocean. You don't be running through there willy-nilly with a bunch of daggone cargo. Do you know how much money it costs to go all the way out to Africa? And how do you even power that? Just keep going. That's the next thing. That's number 7. How could you carry such a heavy weight of Africans packed like sardine without a motor or a row crew? How you going to push that through the ocean with a raggedy sail and them currents? How you going to navigate with a raggedy sail? You got that kind of weight on you. You would need a whole level of rowing crew to power that. They didn't have motors. Oh yeah, Jade, abducting babies. Okay, yeah, well, that's not real. They're not still abducting babies. That whole story about us being brought from Africa, that's bullshit. They might have taken some and brought them to going to UK. Yeah, I believe that shit. They might have done that shit, but they didn't bring them over here. How could you provide food, water, cleanliness to keep them Africans healthy and alive? How you gonna do it? Because they weren't even keeping themselves alive. Mind you, they were disgusting. They didn't wash, not at all. Okay, they had bubonic plague going on. How the heck are they going to keep people safe and alive when they didn't have enough? Okay, let's keep going. That's number 8. England couldn't afford. It couldn't afford it. It was in an economic crash. Okay, They was having starvation and shit themselves from all their wars and stuff. How could they afford to go to Africa to bring people?
I think another thing,
Mhm.
I think another thing that we don't pay attention to because we're so caught up in the story is, so you're saying people came on boats on nations full of people and kicked the people on the land ass? Explain that. Explain
Right,
how, explain that.
right. They could. Okay, this is the thing. No, it's really even worse than that. How sorry are the people? Because I'll skip ahead, whatever. Because that's right. How? Because between 1525 and 1866, they claimed 12 million Africans were taken to Americas and 10.7 survived the impossible conditions. Yet not one person or family declared war or did anything to get back their loved ones. Like nobody, like nothing. Like you didn't have no wars going on in Africa over us. That many motherfucking people. 10 million? And you ain't fighting about losing your cousins, your children, your husbands, your wife. You don't care? Like I said, them Africans must be some truly self-hating people to lose that many of themselves and not give a damn. Not give a damn. How is that working? How does that happen? But yeah, they were starving. The other thing that you got to know is that they were starving in Jamestown and they were starving in England. So how are they going to afford to feed and water and keep some daggone people in Africa to take them over to America where they half dead when they half alive when they get here, and they don't even know how to do nothing, and there is absolutely no records of interpreters, African interpreters. Where the hell are those? You hear everything about so-and-so interpreting it for Indian, and this one interpreted for the Indians. But you don't hear nothing about no African interpreters. How is that possible if we're African? They were so sorry that in Jamestown, now they used to say that the starving time was longer, but I think they heard me talk about it and they shortened it to 1 year. So now they're saying that in one winter they just couldn't take it and they started eating corpses. You mean to tell me you couldn't make it through a fucking winter? You mean to tell me you started eating corpses and dead shit that soon? Really? Wow. That's pretty disgusting. You couldn't wait. Now, see, I think they heard me talk about it, saying, well, the starving time was quite a long time. How did they afford to even bring Africans over when the starving time went to it was longer than that, because it went to because the Powhatan Wars were into the 1620s. So they couldn't have gotten resources while they fighting and losing money and shit. And wearing themselves out. You mean to tell me they weren't starving and having problems during the Powhatan Wars? That's bullshit. But now they got it all changed from to 1609 to 1610. And that's a starving time, one winter. You sorry, sick asses. You changed it. You went too extreme with your changing it, you dumbasses. See, that's what happens when you tell lies. When you tell lies, you don't even know how to navigate, right? That's why they changed the whole narrative to one fucking winter, and it doesn't make sense. You mean to tell me you couldn't go a winter and you surrounded by water and fish and crabs and clams and scallops, frogs and turtles and squirrels and deer? You mean to tell me you could not go one winter and without eating corpses? What kind of cannibalistic weirdos were you?
I'm sorry.
And like we said, go ahead.
Uh,
Go ahead.
you hear what Sap said? Eating belts and shoes and shit.
That's what they was doing. Did they put it on? Yeah, exactly. That's what they was. That's what they say they was doing, and it was just one winner. But you know what? They sorry like that. That's why they know. They know the fragility. That's why they tried. That's why they tried to take from us so freaking desperately, because they know if they have to do, it's doomsday for them. Because they ain't trying to do. Things got to be laid out for them, all comfortable, or they freaking get crazy. Okay, they lose it. And that's really sad, because it's not, I mean, this is it. You're not going to be able to have all this stolen shit. You cannot keep holding on to the shit you stole any longer. Not the resources, not the precious gemstones, not the daggone oil, not none of it. Not the metals, not the daggone, all the shit you're hiding. Because we got all this good shit in America that you're hiding. That shit is all, you're losing it. You're losing it. They couldn't afford to go to Africa. They couldn't face the malaria. They already had all them plagues. England didn't know anything about Africa and in the 1600s. That you look at a map of the 1600s, it's nothing. Everything's unexplored. It's a question mark. They didn't know even how to treat malaria until they got the quinine, like the brother said, until after 1880. Africa was not explored until the Berlin Conference. That's why when you look at things about Africa, you're like, oh shit, they ain't got nothing done. Ain't nothing happening in Africa until like after 1900. You can't even find an 1880 picture of an African. Why? Because ain't nobody was taking a picture of them. You can see plenty of photographs of us in 1860 and whatever, but you ain't gonna see no Africans because they were not around. You want to, I mean, you got to look. That's what I'm just telling you. 1619, they changed it. That's what I was going to get to. 1619, they changed it. It was supposed to, the story was, it was 20 odd negras, right? Spanish ship was intercepted and they were Christianized. They all had Spanish names, Antonio, Maria, but really it was supposed to be all girls because it was 20 odd negras. That's the feminine form. So they lied about everything. They remixed it. Why? Because of Anthony Johnson. They had to say that it was Negroes because, hey, Anthony was on there. They wanted to add Antonio to the mix so they could make sense out of Anthony, because they don't know how to make sense out of Anthony. Anthony defies the truth. Anthony defies the lies that they're telling. The arrival of 20 odd Negroes in America, and 20 odd Africans and Negroes turned to Negroes, and then it turned to 20 odd Africans in the year 2019. All of a sudden, these Negroes are Africans. No mention of this 2019, the 1619 for 400 years. Why did it take so long to make the Negroes African if they were always African? And there's the other thing. Why didn't you always just call us African? Is that what we were? Why were we ever not called African if that's what we were? Why would you not call us what we were? It doesn't make sense. They needed to find an arrival date, because with all the descriptions, Negro, color, black, African, they wanted to make African stick so that we can believe that we're the immigrants and we're not the American Indian landlords. That's important. We cannot believe that we belong here. That's why they gave us color codes instead of their going actual nation. They couldn't say we're the Americans. No, they couldn't say. So they knew that they weren't. I guess they tried to be a little cool with us and they tried to slide it like, oh, we're just gonna call them Negroes like the Spaniards do. Okay, we'll call them Negroes. That way it's kind of non-committal, and that way we can slide them into oblivion that way. But then we started wondering, well, what is a Negro? We don't know what. Oh, we don't know what we is. What we is, we don't know what we is. So then it became a thing, and I'm gonna show you why it became a problem. All right, I'm gonna share this tab and show you this little film with Ossie Davis. Speaking of Ossie, right? Ossie Davis did a film in 1965 called The History of the Negro. I think y'all can see this. Let me make sure. Yeah, y'all can see it. Okay. So he
Bring it
went
down a
and
little bit. Bring it down a little bit.
You can
I am. I was just showing you the year. So yeah, so it's History of the Negro, and I'm gonna play it right now. Hope the volume's up high enough.
blow it
And
up
here
too
we,
if you want.
Go ahead.
Blow up the video if you want as well.
I think it is blown up. Okay.
Nice,
All right,
nice.
there you go. All right. Yeah, it's all the way up. Okay.
The people now called Negroes are the most and the least understood of the world's people.
This term Negro demoralizes us and is detrimental. I feel it doesn't give us
any quantity of Negro blood, or whatever that is considered a Negro.
Are Negroes a race, a people, or a condition? Our programs will be asking this question in many ways and in many different settings. Our odyssey will take us throughout the world to Africa, where we will explore the relationship of American Negroes to the land of their origin. To Brazil.
Let's see the white man. There it goes.
itself.
Rid of this or elsewhere is to get rid of
The association passes slave ship.
I think that the first task of people of African descent, whether in the United States or in Africa or elsewhere, is to get rid of this slave named Negro.
This curious word Negro was seldom or never used in Africa itself. And this word has no meaning or no worthwhile meaning at all in Africa. I would doubt myself if it has any useful meaning anywhere else.
What is a Negro? A simple question, but the answer is not so simple.
And that's the thing. Niggas in 1965 didn't know what the hell a Negro was. So they had these daggone so-called educated asshole eugenics directed Pan-Africans tell them what they are. Okay. So they decided, yeah, we're going to make sure these so-called people that don't know who they are, because we done called them everything, every color in the rainbow, colored, black, Afro-American. We give them all kinds of damn pet names, right? Giving the people of the land, of the property, pet names, because you don't want to call them the indigenous people of America, the American Indian. You don't want to call them what they are. You want to give them pet names. And so then people was like, well, what are we? What? And so then you're going to direct them off as immigrants, right? It's right on YouTube. Yep. You're going to direct them off as immigrants. That's what they did. Okay. That's what they did to us. Okay. So there you go. That's where, I mean, and it didn't just happen then. We're going to stroll down everything. We're going to hit upon everything. We're not going to just, just do that. Like we're going to get everything. So anyway, but the thing about it is that whole part that we talked about, that we didn't know what we were misclassified so many times. We didn't understand why. And when you misinform the babies, when you miseducate the babies, then you've miseducated a nation, right? When the babies don't know, they grow up to be adults that don't know, to keep passing that misinformation on. And that's what we got going on today. So out of the 1619, they attempted to explain the unexplainable, right? See, that's the problem. 1619, they use that to explain the unexplainable. The unexplainable is this rich Negro who went to court to keep his slave. Now, how is a Negro in 1655 going to court and got all this stuff that he has. The court records made the chattel and the FBA bullshit look crazy. It makes it look crazy. To this day, they're trying to call Anthony Johnson African, and that don't work. And we're going to break that down, okay? Because people love Anthony Johnson, and he's our people. So we're going to tell the story as it is, the truth, okay? The truth and nothing but the truth. Just like Anthony Johnson stood in court all the damn time, and so did all the Johnsons and the Macs. We stay in court, okay? So that's it. So this is what the real truth is about Anthony Johnson, because the reason that's why they had to attach him. Oh, he's Antonio from 1690 to explain him being from Africa. Because they're like, oh my God, we can't have a nigga that's just got money. That doesn't line up. Like, what? You know, so we got to explain this shit. Oh, well, we'll say he was on that ship and he's an Angolan. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that works. And yeah, and that's it. And he just got rich. Oh, okay. That lines up. No, the hell it don't. Okay, so we're gonna march this out. The 20 odd niggas are completely missing from any colonial records. They are Christianized with Spanish names. Negras denotes that they were women. How did Negras feminine change into Negros? And how did Antonio become Anthony Johnson? They changed the history, and it wasn't even a real history. It's not even in the records. They made up the history, then they changed what they said. Then they changed the sexes. They made them Negroes so you could insert an Antonio. Then they changed his name. They said, oh, Antonio became Anthony. Really? And then they changed it just to make you believe in the 20-odd Negroes, because you needed to believe that you had a first arrival, and that Anthony Johnson is, if he's an African, then you got to be African too. That's what the goal is, right? That's the goal. Okay? That's the goal. Thank you for the compliment. Anthony Johnson is not Antonio, and he's not African. He's Accomac. Y'all gonna feel this vibration. Anthony Johnson is Accomac because, sorry, I say Jackson, but Jackson is a common American Indian name, but Johnson is a common American Indian name. This Johnson name, being Indian, is accidentally noted in a book. I say accidentally because she gave a gem. Kellen Roundtree and her Pocahontas' People book and her People Indians of the Eastern Shore book, she dropped gems, and she talked about Johnson being an Indian name, and I'm gonna show it. Her quick free and his quick freedom. How did he get quick so free so quickly? And then he owned land so quick. First of all, and then he had cattle. That makes his indigenous identity logical. Whereas it does not make sense for him to arrive in 1619, have his name changed, only to work for 7 years or less, right? That equals like 1625 or so. Then next he would have to pay for his wife and sons, because they say he paid for his wife and sons for him. They say he was a slave and he paid for, oh, really? He did all that? That would be another 15 years at minimum, but not even 15 years. Y'all know that would have been more. That would have been like 20-some years trying to pay for them to get free. But let's say 15, even if it's 15, that'll be 1641. Not to mention, the colonizers is going to be, why were the colonizers going to let an African come to America for temporary working? How are they going to pay all that money to get him over there, nurse him back to health, teach him 2 languages, because he had to learn Algonquin, he had to learn Powhatan, he had to learn Accomac, and he had to learn English. So he had to learn Accomac and English. He don't speak the languages. He don't know the tools. He don't know the crops. He don't know the pace of work. He don't know the type of work. He don't know the animals. He don't know the plants. And then he going to be competent enough to pay you back? How long? Going to take you 4 years to make him competent. You get 3 years out of work, tops out of him. And then you going to set him free? Really? Come on, let's walk this out. Walk it out. This is actually from the book. This is from the book by Helen Roundtree. And you can see very clearly at the top, Johnson's surname among Indians before 1900. Johnson is a surname among Indians before 1900. Holla! Holla!
Ooh, I can show a better one. Give me a second.
I got one.
Just
No,
to
I
add
got some
on.
more. I got more. Yeah, if you got a better one, I got more. I don't think I have another Johnson surname. Show another one. But I got the court
Yeah,
stuff.
I'll pull up the Johnson surname. Give me a second, but keep cooking.
All right. All right. Why would you do that? Okay, you got to understand that first of all, why would you import slaves as temporary workers from Africa just to make them richer than you? Huh? That's what they went to Africa to make some Africans richer than you? How does he become a wealthy expert at farming and court records? He's buying cattle in 1647. Hello, he's already buying cattle. See, that's what tells a lie. We saw that even if we modestly did it at 1641, he really still should be enslaved. By 1647, he should still be a slave, paying off all his daggone family debt. But 1647, he buying cattle, y'all. That is not cheap. That ain't buying corn seeds. That's not buying tobacco seeds. He's buying cattle, right? A wealthy cattleman from a slave. He didn't have to work no time. And then he also had brought 250 acres. And he had his own slave, probably several. The idea that colonizers would risk the life and health at great expense just to possibly have a marginally fair, lousy ass worker for 3 out of the 7 years, because the first 4 years he would be recovering from his illness, he would have learning disabilities, he would be trying to get a hold of the language of English and Algonquin, and they didn't have no interpreters because they're not in the records. Ain't no African interpreters and the records, you Pan-Africans. Shut the fuck up. There are no African interpreters, but you think you're from Africa. You make me sick. So, according to the fable, he would be trying to learn Algonquin and English while learning his new tools, his new crops, farming, the new work, the methods, etc. And if being Negro did mean he was African, because that's what these dumb Pan-Africans and eugenics are making you believe. And now Native Americans want to jump in and act like they're experts of us. Everybody, see, really the only people that's keeping their mouth shut are the average white man. The average white man they just keeping their mouth shut, and I love them for that, because they know when to hold them, they know when to fold them, they know they don't need to be getting into this discussion with us, right? They're not. The only one are these daggone weirdo immigrants, like these weirdo Africans and these weirdo damn Native Americans. They're the only ones chopping at the bit, because the whiteys will not even, they're not even really trying. No, they're not. They know better, because they know the truth. This example of Anthony Johnson demonstrates the life of a Negro in the 1600s, and that he's not just chattel. He couldn't be a chattel slave. He's able to prosper. And so then, if he's a Negro, if he is Negro and called Negro as he is in court records, then he clearly is not from Africa. He clearly is not from Africa. If he being Negro did mean he was African, then why would a the wealthiest stolen African, now free, not ever go back to Africa? That's one thing you got to ask yourself. If he was that wealthy and he really was African, why didn't he ever go back? He got stolen from Africa. Or even if he didn't want to go back and live there, why wouldn't he not import some shit that he liked, like his fufu or something? Because we would be eating fufu today if Anthony Johnson was African and he had said, I got to get me some of that good ass fufu, and went back and got that, whatever they was eating, whatever was his favorite food in Africa that he loved, or why didn't he bring his sister or his brother or something, or whatever them damn African drums and shit. I don't know. But
Foo-foo's
he
not
didn't
good.
bring. Why didn't he bring the shit that
This shit
he
nasty
from
as
Africa?
hell, boy. It's gross. I'm
Why
sorry,
didn't he bring
continue.
his why didn't he bring his stuff? You know what I'm saying? Why didn't he go back and get his people? Why didn't he go home and say, yo, I'm all right, y'all. I know you was worried about me, which they weren't, because we ain't got no reports of anybody looking for nobody, fighting for nobody. So does it make sense? I mean, if you really believe that he was African, like these so Pan-Africans want to say we're from Africa, explain why this rich African didn't want nothing to do with his homeland. Why these Africans let over 10,000 people go without squeaking, without daggone reaching out, without daggone sending a letter in a bottle. Could you send a letter in a bottle? Could you do anything? How would he learn the language, and how would he represent the law, rather? This is the thing. We understand the reason we know about Anthony Johnson and how these people try to say he's from Angola. It just makes my head spin, because also, in addition to surviving the voyage that's unsurvivable, nursing himself back to health, which there is no nursing that he would be able to do, being able to get himself together so that he is learning 2 languages without any interpreters, learning the job, half-ass doing it, getting out of it without doing any work or being any benefit, then getting free, then having all this money that he can get all these other people free, and then he got money to buy cattle and land. How did he learn also his rights as a what? African? So you mean to tell me that back in 1650, 1640, that he had the right as an African to represent himself in court? You mean to tell me that these colonizers was bringing people over so that they could fight them, so they could be fought in court by the people, by the chattel people that they brought? Do you tell me that's the definition of chattel? A chattel is a piece of chattel that can beat your ass. That's what chattel is. Beat your ass in court, chattel. How are you so helplessly chattel if you kicking ass in court? Hello? I don't get that. I'm a chattel slave. See, these people get off on poverty and poor me politics. I'm a victim. You ain't no fucking victim. Anthony Johnson proves we were not victims. We were victors, and we still are. We just got screwed up the last 60 years. We screwed this shit up. We were winning this whole time, and the last 60 years we let it all drop. We screwed it all up. But how would he learn the law and represent himself in court? A colonizer would not allow an African foreign child to sue anyone in court, including the colonizer in court after working for just a few years. Impossible. But boo, that shit happened. So before I forget, let me go back and show you that they were suing white folks in court, because maybe y'all don't know about this shit. Because you know what? Accomack Indians know, because we got the oldest court records in the nation. And it's older than probably what they telling us, because they lie so much. And it ain't their court records, it's our court records, because who's always in the court? We are. What we handling? Indian business. Why we handling Indian business in the court? Because we made the courts up. We did that shit. Okay. Here you have an actual volume of the court records, right? It says the date underneath, the date above it. This one's in the afternoon, that one's the next morning. So it's October 1673. It's the 27th, okay? On the 27th day, you see at the bottom, Moore versus Light. Whereas Anthony Moore, a servant Negro to Mr. George Light, doth in court make appearance by several others that he cometh into this county for 5 years, and is therefore ordered that he said Moore be free from his said master. Okay, and that he said Mr. Light pay him corn and clothes. He's supposed to pay him corn and clothes according to the custom of the country. That's the custom of the country, not the custom of England. Hello? Get this. Not the custom of England. It's the custom, our custom. We had ways of handling business already. And if you do look at records, you'll see that when they got here, they said, oh, their laws are agreeable to us because we had laws that vibrated. Our laws were better than their shit. Okay, that's what he basically said. Their laws are agreeable to us. But why? Why everybody missed that? Why everybody miss everything but the fact that they want to be chattel slaves? Okay. Anyway, he said more. He said corn and clothes according to the custom of the country, not their country, our country, and 400 pounds and cask for his service done to him since he was free, and pay the cost. That means that white man that master got to pay. He might not. Is he? I don't know. Is he white? He might not be white. Shit, his master, Mr. Light, might not be white. I don't know. See, I'm assuming something that it's probably not true. Mr. Light probably is a nigga. Okay. But anyway, the point is that Moore marched himself in the court and sued his former master, which really is your former employer. And we roll like that. That's how we roll. And when you don't know the real records and you got people just making up stuff and reading books that other people wrote and they not going to the primary sources, they don't know. That's why it's been making us sick every day. People want to talk about Anthony Johnson. You don't know. You don't have copies of the court records. You don't know what happened in the Eastern Shore. You're not an Accomac. Shut the hell up. Don't talk about people that ain't you. It pisses us off. And we haven't said anything. We've been sitting up there watching people gritting our teeth saying, please don't talk about Anthony Johnson. Oh, God.
We argued with Curry Mayo about it. And I seen some folks on TikTok mention it, but they used like a weird link from Black Past and said he had like an owner named who was a Bennett. I'm like, bruh, are you trying to say he's European? Then you don't know the full thing. And you shouldn't speak on it. Like, that's weird.
The truth of the matter is Anthony Johnson wasn't no damn slave, no how, not doing all that he was doing. He wasn't no freaking slave. Okay. He was managing his business. Okay. Like a lot of these Negroes were in our territory, and a lot of these people, and a lot of people are related to these people that are our people in the territory. So no, he wasn't. No, that they're trying to make Anthony Johnson makes sense because he is the screw that is loose. If he goes around willy-nilly bragging, showing his tail about him there going to court and suing and carrying on, then everything they're teaching us about the Negro, it falls apart. Anthony Johnson destroys the idea that the Negro was a helpless victim from Africa. He kills it. He kills it. And that's why they try to daggone put him in a box and control him and control the narrative. But you can't control the narrative because he ain't your people, and you need not to speak on what you don't know. It's ridiculous. Just leave that alone. Leave it to the people that can communicate with his ass. And he don't want that shit. Leave him alone. He worked hard for the money. Okay? He worked hard for it, honey. And he don't want you daggone messing up his shit. Okay? He don't want you doing that.
Lisa, can you go back to that last page where it had October, the one you just left from?
Oh, okay.
I want to make a point, a very important point that we talked about last night, where it said October. I want to show something.
I'm trying to figure out. October. Not
you,
that.
You just came off of it.
Was it forward?
The court record. The court record.
Oh, the court record.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the whole court record for Mr. Light, Mr.
Yeah.
Moore. Okay, got you.
I want to make a point, and this should clear everything out of everybody's mind. Check this out.
There you go.
Okay, right there. Now check this out. You see, and this is where you get the term "white man speak with forked tongue." You see how afternoon is spelled. You see how in the second sentence the difference between Jeremiah Pierce, blah, blah, blah. You see how there are capital letters all throughout the difference between. You see how between is spelled. You see Jeremiah. You see how the how they speak now and how they wrote then is not the same as they speak or write now. So I was showing Lisa this last night, and I want to share with you guys because a lot of times, you know, we get arrogant and we get snitty with ourselves. Well, what language you don't even speak your language? Check this out. This is the piece I shared with Lisa last night, and she's gonna get it. She's gonna crack up. It's how they used to speak with the names and all this stuff. Because we never know. I know. Check out how these people spoke. They still speak this way to this day. And how they can just say boo to us and it'll knock us off everything we trying to talk about, everything we saying. Check this out. Check this out.
I'm here to rescue you. Come quickly.
I've got a better idea. Why don't you rescue me in about, 7 or 8 minutes?
Oh, knock it off. I don't want to see my dad on the job. Come on, let's go.
Okay. I'm sorry, girls. No. I've got to go. It's my boy. Hold on.
Oh. What's wrong with your neck?
I took a Viagra. Got stuck in my throat. I've had a stiff neck for hours. Thank you.
Listen, Dad, if you are going to talk about naughty things in front of these American girls, then at least speak English.
All right, my son. I could have had it away with this cracking Judy, my old China.
Are you telling pork pies in a bag of trout? Because if you are feeling quickly, why not just have a J. Arthur?
What, Billy? No, mates.
Too right, you.
Don't you remember the Crimbo Din we had with the grotty Scotchman?
Oh, the one that was all 6s and 7s.
Yeah, she was a trouble and strife, but a Morris dancer lived up the apples and pears.
Yeah, she was the barrister that became a Bobby in a lorry, and they gave her the Gatling gun in the bottom of St. Regis tea kettle. Yes.
And then
she shat on a turtle.
Oh, God, we had some good times, eh?
We had some good times.
That's how they speak now. So when you and it's always a Negro, always, well, what language you speak? Dude, they're speaking your language. This is American language. They can tell you anything. They can tell you night is day. And you know what you'll say? Yes, boss, night is day. So what she was just showing you about the court records right here, they spoke different. They have to change their language because they're coming into you. They have to learn how to communicate with you. And somehow that shit just flies right over our head. We never get it. You see at the bottom of the page where it says October. You see how October is spelled? You can go through, I mean, Lisa hit me to this years ago. Check out how they write and speak. They had to learn your language. They had to learn how you speak, how you communicate. Somehow, we think we learning from them. They're learning from you all the time. Long as you're kept dumb, and that's really with these modern Negroes. That's why you go to their schools. Why you think they keep you schooled and they keep you in school for so long? You can become a doctor at 10 years old, but you're not taught anything. Everybody says, man, when I went to school, man, that was so much time wasted. But we'll send our children right to the same place that we just came from. So understand what is happening to you, what happened to you, what happened to your mama, your daddy. Some of you got people in your family, your great grandmothers, great grandfathers that had a third grade education or fourth grade education and were geniuses. Now we think you go to 20 years of school and you're probably dumber than when you went in. Seriously. People are not born. You come already prepared. Or unless you wouldn't come. Okay, Lisa, hand it back off.
Yeah, Nate, did you want to add anything?
Yeah. All right. Let me show the thing with Johnson. It's actually, which one is it? It's this one right here. Okay, so this, let me zoom in. This is Johnson right here. This is from Helen Roundtree's Indians of Eastern Shore, Maryland, and Virginia. And this is the surname. You see the date, see the tribe, right? Now, here's something that's even more interesting, because I found Johnson, but look what else I found. Go here. Let's see. Is this it right here? Boom. Anthony. Let me zoom in. Can y'all see that? Damn.
Can you see it?
Hold on. Because I just found Johnson, but look, Anthony's on there too.
Where'd you find that? What's that?
Eastern Shore Indians of Maryland and Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So they have his first name and his last name. Now
Drop
it's on a
the mic.
different.
There's no question. What is he? A freaking Accomack Indian. Stop it. Like, drop the mic. It's done. No more.
This is
No more.
Anthony Unknown, 1713, but then Chinook, Nanatoke. If you know anything about Accomack and Nanatoke, it's like the reclassified version of Accomack. They're the ones that got pushed out, pretty much. So they have Anthony listed as well as being an Indian surname in the 1700s, right here, twice. So they have his whole name being his first and last name. Yeah, it shows it under Nanatoke, Chinook Nanatoke, but same difference. And Johnson, first name, last name, both are Indian, completely.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's all I got.
Still in that Confederacy, and there you go. I mean, so all this Angola, he came here, he was part of the 1619, all that stuff that's dead. Okay, let's just dead that right now. It's over. Let it go. He's an Accomack. He's in the Accomack Confederacy. He's an Accomack Indian. He's from the Eastern Shore. He was right in Northampton in court. That's where he lived. He was moved around because he had to, because they burnt down his stuff. You know, another court record that highlights Anthony Johnson being Anthony Johnson is the fact that he was compensated for the fact that his farm did get burnt, so they forgave him of his taxes, and the nice evil people didn't make him pay taxes on the shit that got burnt down. Ain't that nice of them? Especially when you got to consider they're definitely the ones that burnt it down. You know, that's crazy. All right. We're gonna do you a favor. You don't have to pay taxes on your burnt stuff. You know, but guess what? He still had money. And then the Jacksons, the Johnsons, I'm sorry, you see them they go to Maryland, they move around Virginia, they go to Maryland. Some of them go far out to Texas. Some of them go out to Georgia, you know, and like I said, like we were talking about Thomas and I and the Accomacs were talking about in the meeting. The names mean something. When you are Carter, when you're a Jackson, when you're a Johnson, when you're a Smith, you're connected. You may not be connected. You may have to go way back to find your common bond or your common relatives, but these names do mean things, and we have a whole interconnetwork of connectivity. It's our family, that it really means something. It's important. So yeah, these names, and then the fact that they had the audacity to make us think that our names ain't our names. Wow, y'all just y'all done too much. You've done too much. You've done too much. And a lot of people don't want to know because they don't know how to handle being angry. They don't know how to handle knowing that people could be this wicked. They can't handle it. I'm not worried about it because they're gonna have to right this wrong. They're gonna have to right this wrong. I ain't mad at them. I feel sorry for them for being so daggone greedy that they couldn't contain themselves, that they screwed themselves up. That's ridiculous. You screwed yourself up being so daggone greedy. That's nuts. Control yourself, okay? If you could have controlled yourself and stopped drooling over what the Indians had, you wouldn't be disappointed. Your descendants wouldn't be desperate and desperate to try to keep what was stolen now. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
I think also we have to put into perspective too the Indians' role in all of this happening, because we wanted what they had. And most of the time it was their women. Right, Black man? We wanted their women. I mean, yeah.
Okay,
I know brothers today that would slap you if you say they couldn't have one of their women.
Can I add on to that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So to me, I feel like it's a disservice because if you just go with America is a matrilineal country, and even the women who aren't foreign have feel more empowered here in this country. But if you are not tied into the women of this land, you don't really have any power here. So when you say I'm gonna marry this person or this Woody or whatever the case may be, you're disservicing yourself. Because what if we said, hey, you know what? Since your baby mother is from Italy, why don't you live in Italy the rest of your days and just leave the country? We could actually do that on the grounds that the matriarch that you decided to have a kid with is an American. That could be a thing. That really could be a thing. If we said, hey, because you're leveraging American soil and most land masses are representative of women. So why would you want someone to play in your, like, if let's say America's your grandma, does your grandma want to see you laid up with that cave person on her soil? Or would she rather have you just go to Italy and she ain't got to see none of that weird stuff? Like, if you really want to vouch for the woman that you care about and love so much, live and unalive in the country of origin of the woman that you decided to have a child with, if you really riding for her. But we're leveraging the fact that, oh, America's a boiling pot. America's a negress. It'll always be a negress. It will always be a negress. And if you don't like negress women, go to the country for the woman of country of origin of the woman you decide to have a kid with and stay there. What's the issue?
And this is another thing to add what you just said, Nay. So when you see all these brothers out here dogging sisters, I mean, we've been getting our ass kicked over this for so long, it should be obvious. Like she said, when you talk about the women here, you're talking about the land too. You don't understand that? And that's what the Black man never understands. You're talking about the land. You're talking about your sister. You're talking about your daughter and the women too. You guys do it too, big time. But all this male, female arguing and bullshit that's going on, what do you think we look like to the immigrants that are coming over here? They can just have a field day because we acting totally out of line. And that's both male and female. It's not one above the other or one more than the other. It's both of us. Stop that shit. Hand it back, Lise.
Yeah, man, that's a fact. I mean, it is what it is. So we need to you know, we need to be mindful of that. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Why don't you go to? I know brothers that have done that. I guess that is a respectful thing to do that. Oh, that's just the fact that we're gonna have a summit at the courthouse March 31st. Look for it on Facebook. Look for it on Eventbrite. We're trying to get as many people to show up for this fight that can be there. Our win is your win. Our win is everybody's win. We have to beat these people from trying to daggone terrorize the American Indians. This is ridiculous. You can't terrorize us and stop us from claiming what is ours. That is ridiculous. You don't have that authority. Cut it out. You're being crazy. You think we don't know our rights? We do. Stop, boo. It's dumb. Okay? Stop playing games. You don't have a right to lock people up because you don't want them claiming what you stole. That sucks. All right. Anyway, so I told y'all that we had the paperwork that said that our laws are agreeable, and I'm trying to deliver on that. Now let me see. What is that? It's all in the way. Let me get this comment out the way. What is this? Who's coming? Okay, let me hide that because I want to make sure I can see. Okay, now let me. All right, hold on. Let me get it so I can see what I'm looking. Okay. Okay, so where the yellow dot is, that's the actual source, English Empire in America. So I'm showing you the source by Robert Burton, okay? Then after Dale's Gift, it says, the country is governed by laws agreeable to those of England, and the observing whereof whose parts possessed by the English are divided into country, counties, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, so the country is governed by laws that's agreeable. Our laws were agreeable to those of England. We had better laws, okay? We had the better laws. Okay, and then when you want to ask people, like, that's the thing. I had actually reached out to what's that daggone senator or congresswoman, what's her name, from California, you know, the old woman. Anyway, I had reached out to her because she was having those meetings about the Indians or freedmen, and she didn't. And I was like, how y'all gonna have meetings about freedmen and don't nobody know what a freedman is? Here's a colored man, a free colored American. This is a picture of a freedman, a free colored American. He is not an African. He is not an African. But one of those Americans called African. Either he or his forefathers were once slaves. He now breathes. Why I keep covering up my stuff? Oh my God. No. God, I can't read it. Okay. He now breathes the sweet air of liberty, looks like a man. Okay. We got to understand what it is. All right. Before we go around trying to get all these government meetings and stuff, because they don't want to figure out what it is. They just want to pretend like they care what it is. They don't care about the damn Tulsa people and their property. They don't care about who be an Indian and what an Indian is. They just want to play like they trying to give it some attention. That's all they're trying to do. They just trying to bull crap people, just play games with people's head. Let's see the other basis of what we talk about. The reason we know that we are the Indians, we base it, the Accomack, we base it on John Smith, William Strachey, and Thomas Harrod. Thomas Harrod wrote a book, a brief history, or a true history, whatever. I don't have it right here. But, and his goes back to 1588. This one, A History of Travel into Virginia Britannia, was done in 1612 by William Strachey. And that's what we really talk about a lot. And Carrie and I always talk about the fact that they use caput instead of chapter, because their language is different from ours. It's more Germanic like. It's like German, you know, with a little Latin and shit. It's different. It's not English ain't American. We speak different. American is a different language. And the Indians create the American language. A true description of the people of, and everybody wants to speak American. They don't be trying to speak with the British words and the British accents and the British daggone dialect and the British meaning. They don't try to learn all that stuff. They want to talk like we do. That's what they practice if they want to be actors. That's what they practice if they want to be in the media. That's what they practice. If they just want to learn to speak in the so-called English, they learn American. Anyway, a true description of the people, their color, constitution, disposition, and their apparel. They are generally a color brown. And I skip over. Their hair is black, gross, long, and thick. The men have no beards, but we shave the beards. Their noses are broad, flat, and full at the end, with great big lips and wide mouth. Yet nothing so unsightly as the Moors. That's what they're saying, that we're not ugly like the Moors. Not the Moors. The Indians of Virginia. And understand, Virginia is they're going the whole damn continent halfway. It goes all the way up to Canada, all the way down to to Florida. Florida goes all the way out to damn Texas and shit. All that. So anyway, wide mouths. And the women, when they sang, they have delightful and a pleasant tang in their voices. Now that's the American Indian, okay? That's first contact. That's primary source. Not all this other bull crap. People be trying to bring you stuff, and it's not. It's from some kind of author that wrote some kind of crap, you know. The slaves are the Negro by the condition of their mother. See, in 1705, they said that if you be a Negro, if you be an Indian, if you be mulatto, whatever you're called, if your mother is not Christian, you're going to be a slave for life. They made this stuff happen early on. They gave us the slip. The servants and slaves in Virginia, they made these rules. See, they created all these slave codes is what they call them, okay? Let me get down and go over here. Okay. So we're walking it out. Let me get to where I'm supposed to be. All right. So we did that. Okay, he is Accomack. We said that. Okay, so he ended up, we said his name was Johnson. We also are going to talk about the fact that there was a lot of Johnsons on the Eastern Shore of Virginia, okay? And they was all up in the courts a lot. Did you find your other thing you wanted, or you done? Nay.
Yeah, I found what I needed to share. Yeah.
So anyway, so what it is in this citation is one of the other sub tribes, Tapatiaton died, and he left his daughter, who appears in the records to be Mary, and her position was usurped by a man called Johnson, who in 1672 he had the audacity. Y'all, this is a real Negro. You know this is a Negro because this is what happened. The Negro complained to the governor that the subjects are mutinying against him. He said they mutinying, y'all. He said they ain't paying him what they supposed to be paying him. He ain't getting the money that he's supposed to be getting. He ain't getting the resources that they supposed to be giving to him. And they're mutinying. And so he went to the courts and the Accomack court, and he found, and then the case went to Accomack court because he said, oh, well, wait a minute. The judge was like, wait a minute. They saying that you ain't it, sir. They're really supposed to be married. That's why they mad and they ain't giving you nothing. Let's go to court and examine this situation. And they did. They found that Mary was the rightful Weresquaw, and that Weresquaw, and they declared her empress. She was declared empress by the governor in 1674. and they think that she's the empress that Beverly referred to in 1705, possibly. But her people went under the name of Akahanik, and those are our brother tribe. That's, well, really not brother. They're kind of like, they're under, but everybody's like family. They're cousins. Anyway, they presented claims to the English in 1699. So see, the Johnson was even trying to be a chief, trying to collect. See what I'm saying? They was all over the place. And this is another citation in a volume of books, so you can see the governor sent a letter to court regarding the complaint of Johnson, the king of the Eastern Shore. 2 or 3 towns had rebelled. They would not pay tribute to Johnson or to the governor, and so they ordered a summons for Johnson along with some other Indians and accused by him in the matter. But we also already know the outcome. He ended up getting his butt kicked out of daggone being a chief. But see, he should have just shut his mouth and taken what he was getting. Y'all, the greed will do you in. Okay, so we know that the Johnsons is not just a fluke. It's not just Anthony Johnson. When you a real Accomack, you have to know the records. If you repatriate your people, if whatever they be, if they be the Ticomoncos or the Chacatanis, you're gonna have to know every detail about your people. You're gonna have to be on it. We have to always be in the books. Nay's always researching. We always research. We are always on our game because we need to know we need to be the experts of us. If there's anything out there about us, we have to be the expert. We have to own the books. We have to own the records, right? That's how you stay on top. You got to stay on top. That's how you get to be too legit to quit. Yeah. And so you got to be legit. You got to have your stuff, your P's and Q's and your stuff together. And that's what's up. Anyway, so moving on. Why import slaves as temp workers just to make them richer than you, the colonizer? See, that's the thing. They think that this Anthony Johnson would mean that the whole plan of slavery and going to Africa was to bring people to Africa to make them wealthier. He became a wealthy expert. He was farming in the court records. He was buying cattle, all this stuff. Why would they do that? And we talked about this. Why wouldn't he visit his loved ones? We already did that. Okay, let's go on to the next one. So I think I went on the second point here. If all imported Negroes can get free so quickly as did this Anthony Johnson trick, do this Anthony Johnson trick, then they would have to end that transatlantic slavery immediately. If this trick was done as early as the 1600s by Anthony Johnson's, do you think they would continue some transatlantic importation when he's getting over like this? He's making out like gangbusters. What's the point of daggone, having him, be a servant when he's making out better than you are? That's just crazy.
I want to highlight what Bigfoot is saying. When you show this as I'm gonna get it off the screen in a minute, but just check out what they're saying, and this makes all the sense in the world. He says, when you show this as evidence, no one responds to the subject. Bigfoot, you're absolutely right. But what's more, and you guys get this because this is very important. When you come up with this kind of evidence, and Lisa knows this as a fact, you get people acting all kind of crazy, cussing, getting mad, stomping off. This is what happens when you're presented with truth and you've been living a lie your whole life. When you given simple information, all you got to do is read it. And this is what I'm saying. What you call African Americans and what you call Black, most can't read. We better understand that fact. We don't like to read. That's why we get mad. Always want to argue because what we think we know, we ain't even thinking. We don't believe in thinking. We believe in doing what we're told. That's it. If somebody else said it, we don't think and figure it out and conclude for ourselves what somebody else said. What you call the black man, the African American women, that's all they do. They never come up with their own solutions to their problems. Handing it back to you, Lisa.
Absolutely. Thank you. But yeah, so that's what they do. I mean, the problem is that we don't want to think, and then we get our egos. The main thing is greed and ego. Greed and ego are terrible things, right? They destroy folks. And we gotta, be humble. Be humble. You know what I mean? You gotta be humble because it keeps you right, and it keeps you balanced, and it keeps you from going off the deep end, and it keeps everybody lovely, and it keeps everybody at peace. But all this ego is what makes people snap and makes people beat people to a pulp. Ego. You gotta just back off of that. Yeah, I don't know everything. You don't know everything. I learn from people every day. People give me information. I learn from everybody. I learn from the smallest child. I learn from Naomi. I know from Carrie all the time. So that's the thing. Just be a human being. Be peace. Just be peace. Anthony Johnson, after spending his money buying his freedom and his family's freedom and able to get rich and buy cattle. He was able to get rich, buy cattle, 250 acres, and a slave or a few slaves. Now, the reason that historians revealed this story, which they certainly didn't want to, is because it just happens to be in the court records, right? It's part of a legal record. And so what they've been trying to do is attempt to explain it away, hiring people, boistering up people, paying people to explain away why this daggone Indian has it going on and being labeled as a Negro in the 1600s. How is that possible? A Negro's African. See, they want to make that a matter of fact. But when you try to push Anthony Johnson into that daggone description, it doesn't fit. It's just like OJ. If it don't fit, then you must acquit. It doesn't fit him. That African description does not fit Anthony Johnson. If it doesn't fit, then you must acquit. He is not African. Naomi just showed he's listed as a damn Indian. It explains that he's a free owning another Negro, still being chattel, African chattel. Come on. They're attempting to explain that because they can't explain it. Another Negro's an African owning another African in the 1600s. Make it make sense. And then they want to try to put out that Anthony had a master. Come on now. Even if he was temporarily working for someone, it's not what they try to make it out to be, because we saw the case with Moore versus Light. It was a job. It was a job. And he got paid what he was due from that man. In fact, the system that allows both slave Casser and Johnson to face off was obviously created by us indigenous Negro Indians. Because England didn't have it set up like that. They didn't have it so you could go up against your employer and be like, I'm taking you down, sir, with my own words. No, they use all kind of they brought the bull crap over here, all the Latin and the bull crap, dressing up, wearing daggone powdered wigs, trying to act like they ghosts and shit. What the hell is that? See, they want to do voodoo. They want to do like witch play. They want to play skull and bones in the courtroom. That's what they like to do. Make up little languages that nobody understands, and they're going to dress up like they're in a daggone ghost story. That's what they like to do. They want to make it complicated. See, you could tell when the invaders got here, because you can see it by the law in the courtrooms. You can see it by how they changed the way things work, because they weren't in nothing right now. You can see it. You can see who's running things in the country at this time, and it's us. because of how we dealt with each other so elegantly, so fairly, so respectfully. Everybody had a voice. Everybody was respected. It was fair. It was equal. We weren't just running people down, okay? We weren't acting like people are dependents. They can't speak for themselves. You got to be too dumb. We weren't demeaning the public, right? Different.
Another thing, I just want to add this, Lisa. Another thing that everybody want to start doing, start talking to these foreigners who are like 80 years old. Just start asking them questions. You can tell when somebody's lying by the way their face contorts up when you ask them a question. Start talking to these foreigners who are 80 years old and older, and start asking them questions that you're hearing from here or questions that you thought up of yourself, and watch them fumble all over the place.
Well,
You
there ain't
guys
that
are
many
getting,
of them alive. They
I
dying
mean,
real quick.
the ones that are, especially the military people, ask them because they know they fucked up royally and used you as the cannon fodder to make it happen. And stop saying thank you for your service. That looks stupid because we went over there and helped. A lot of us went over and helped destroy these people's way of life. And we look like assholes saying thank you for your service. Now, if they came over here and destroyed your mama's way of life, how would you feel?
They did.
Back to you,
They
Lisa.
are. They are destroying our way of life. That's what they're doing. But anyway, the Casser, the fact that the system allowed them to face up is just because it shows that it was our system, that we had a way of dealing with each other that was so fair and so equitable, okay, and so respectful of each other. But we have to get back to that because we don't love each other like we used to do, and we don't have that sense of respect. We don't have that sense of respect for ourselves. We don't have any. It makes sense that the education system is under the War Department because it is an instrument of war. They use education as an instrument of war. That's what they do. So Johnson won the right to keep Casser as forever a slave, yet it is said that he shortly after offered Casser his freedom. So like afterwards he did say, yo man, because the actual what happened in this situation was Casser was being slick. Casser was like, I think like he had let Casser go, right? And Casser had slick agreed to work for somebody else instead of him. And he didn't realize like that he was just trying to pull a fast one, like he just wanted to work for somebody else. It was something like that. And so Casey was trying to be slick. And so he got offended that Casey was trying to pull a fast one on him. And that's when he went and sued Kesar. But then afterwards he came to his senses. He let his ego down and he was like, yo, he didn't keep him as forever a slave. Put it like that. Oh, and also the simple truth is a Negro is an Indian. Negro, black, colored, African American are intentional re-identification of the Indian to claim them to be immigrants and therefore devoid of rights or title. That's what it is. It is what it is. Okay, so just imagine this is Anthony Johnson and Kesar in court, everybody loves Anthony Johnson, and Kesar probably had to be a younger man because he's on his come up. He's trying to get his work in. He's trying to make his win. And Anthony Johnson, he's more mature. He got the money, he got the property, he put his work in. He's doing what he do, but he understands. He kind of feels crummy being in court. With Kesar, but he had to teach the guy a lesson. And they let it all be what it is. You know what I'm saying? They let it all be what it is. But this is how we were rolling. We were rolling like this. We were sitting in court. We were dealing with each other straight up. We were handling our business. And then did we hold grudges? No. We let the shit go, okay? All these things that we have lost, that's what we need to get back. Our ability to bounce back and forgive each other, okay? Yeah, your family are assholes. Yes, they did horrible things to you. Yes, they act like they are friggin' the worst people on the planet. And maybe they are. Yeah, they're friggin' selfish and they're dicks and they're just horrible people. But you still need to just let it go. Because you holding on to it ain't gonna make them better. We used to treat each other with respect. We used to stand shoulder to shoulder and be able to give each other a hug at the end. What happened to that? It didn't. We don't have to go all the way back to Anthony Johnson sitting there. We can go back to my parents, your grandparents, people that treated each other with love and respect, people that wanted each other to win, people who believed that, shoot, your win is my win. If you win, shoot, I'm next. And I'm friggin' excited about it. Hello, that kind of thing. There is more proof Anthony Johnson is Accomac, not African. Like I said, Johnsons are all over the court records suing each other. He was not the only pro se Johnson. There's a case of another Johnson. We already showed that. A case of an Indian Johnson suing because folks not giving the tithes because they claim he should not be treated. We showed that. We have the oldest continuous court records. And most likely, like I said, they're much older than what they're telling us because they don't want us to know what we was running and what we have developed. They destroyed all our towns. Y'all, they destroyed everything that makes us know how great we are. And then they took the memory of our children and trained them to be ignorant of who we are. All they think we are, all we're taught is that we're chattel slaves from Africa. That's it. And don't know, and Africa didn't even care about us. That's what we're taught. And people want you to believe that. Your own people want you to believe that. That Africa didn't even want your ass, didn't even come after your ass, didn't go to war for your ass, didn't daggone, fight any fight for your asses. And that's where you come from. That's what they want to teach the children. That's what your own Negro Indian people want you to think. That nobody gives a doggone and you ain't nothing but a slave. Yes, thank you, Gray Wolf. Yes, we have to we need to show love for each other. It just starts with that effort. When it makes my heart sad when I see people on the internet talking bad and being upset about their family. I understand that. I've been in situations. Lord have mercy. I can't even, my daughter knows, oh my God. But guess what? There's another side. And also, people are what they are. You ain't going to change them by being upset forever. All you're going to do is give yourself some damn indigestion, heart pain, heartburn, belly ache, ulcer. Why are you worrying about people that you have no control over? You can't control your family. And then people get so salty about their immediate family that they say, I ain't going to try to, I can't talk to these people. These people ain't going to learn. But see, that ain't the people you organizing and repatriating for. It ain't your immediate family. Oh yeah, of course. I teach my people. I talk to them. I call them on the phone. I try to throw this information in their ear. They came to the summits. Many of them showed up and they do show up and it's wonderful. However, they don't get it. Not like they should. They ain't gonna do right till they see the money and the land. I know that about them. But that's okay. Because you gotta love people for where they're at, not where you want them to be. You feel me? The same reason they made up the 1619 and they are fixated with trying to cover up Anthony Johnson is the same reason they made up the DNA. The same reason they made up the roots. The same reason they made up the raisin in the sun. And I didn't even spell that right, did I? I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah. And a color purple. They brought back a color purple because they wanted to insert that out of Africa, Pan-Africanism. And so they wanted to redo it, revise it with some dumbass music so that they thought that they could attach it to another generation. And then they had Obama build that dumb African American museum, and they got one in South Carolina because South Carolina is a very touchy area. They know that they sold more Indians out of South Carolina. They brought anybody into South Carolina, and they didn't bring no Africans into South Carolina like they lying about. But yet they want to make their Gullah Geechee African and do all this kind of stuff. They work double time hard over South Carolina to put a mind fix on those people. They even got their own African American museum there. See, that's what they do to try to keep us in mind control. That's what they do. But it's our job to be out of that and to know better and do better. Let's talk about DNA for a minute. Okay? Let's do that. Cuz people like to talk about DNA. And I guess everybody saw this thing about with Henry Louis Gates, but maybe you didn't. And if you didn't, you're gonna get to see it. So that's all good. Let me see. All right. Why is it not showing? Okay. Oh, I got to add it to the stage. Sorry about that. Okay. I'll get it together. All right, so let me see.
Broke on CNN. I was sitting in my living room minding my own business and said, Oprah Winfrey's a Zulu. So I called Rick Kittles and I said, Rick, did you tell Oprah she was a Zulu? He goes, no, man, she made that up herself. It's a true story. It's a true story. I would lie to make you laugh, but I'm telling you a true story. So I said, Rick, are you in your lab? He said, yeah. I said, is anybody there? He said, no. I said, when the results come in, make her Zulu, man. I said, you back there making it up anyway. Nobody believe you could take some spit and figure out a tribe? What are you, crazy? She was in a DNA.
Cherie said that's really not funny. It's not. Shit is not funny. But this is the kind of shit we believe. This is the kind of stuff we pass on to our kids. And we'll put them out the house if they don't believe it. Amen? Back to you, Lise. So this is the type of stuff that we pass on. Your kids pass down to their kids. They pass it down to their kids. And if you re-enter here, you pick up the same information. That's why when you have some of these cats today, they're showing images like the one of Charles. I don't know if that was Charles Johnson, but the images of other people, you'll see that they look like people you know. You just reestablish yourself. That's all. You are your ancestors. You don't pull up a picture of your great-great-great-grandmother and see everybody who's alive now face in hers. Don't that happen in your family for those who look? You just like a leaf or a nut or a piece of fruit falling on the ground from a tree. You seep back into the ground and come back up as another piece of fruit. Those are the religious ideology and the spirit. I'm not religious. The spiritual ideologies that the indigenous people had. It was all based in nature. We don't do that now because we love Jesus. Okay, Lisa, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is she unmuted? Because I see the video playing. I don't hear what's going on. We definitely need some sound for that.
Okay, I think I lost sound. Hold on. I may have to go out.
No, we can hear you now.
Oh, you can hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me go back. Okay. Identical twins.
You got to unmute the screen.
Unmute.
Unmute the screen. On the one that's talking.
It's better.
Not yours. Don't unmute you. Unmute the screen, the video.
Not muted.
It's unmuted.
I guess refresh the video then, because everything else is perfect. It's just the sound.
Unmute the screen.
Okay. I guess she's gonna come back in.
Yeah, but guys, really, all this stuff is right at your fingertips. It's right at your fingertips. You back?
Yay. Yeah, you're back. You ready?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All this stuff is at your fingertips, you guys. People, I mean, I don't care the Negroes talking about we have it.
Can you hear it?
It's not up. The screen is not up.
Oh.
All these people and really these Africans, y'all should shut them down because you're fleeing your home and coming over here talking shit. Really? Really? Yeah, they'll give you they talk real fast, Jay Smith, because they're told and they listen to these people talk, these Pan-Africans talk, and them Africans know that we're not them.
I'm guessing.
Oh my gosh. Part.
All right.
3.4%. I know, but it's actually saying you are 3.4% Italian.
So are we a little bit or a lot Italian? Mostly East European or mostly Balkan? What's up with these results? I'm hoping Simone Gravel can explain.
Hi.
Hello, Dr. Gravel.
Welcome to the lab. Nice to meet you.
He is a population geneticist at McGill University in Montreal.
Last time you saw your DNA, I'm guessing it was in a little tube like this.
I spit in quite a few of those,
That's
yes.
right. So once you send those to the companies, they'll take your saliva, they clean it up, they will break down the cells so they can free the DNA, and then clean the DNA, break it into small pieces, and then they lay it out on one of these chips here.
So if we look at that chip, will my spit on this chip tell me that definitively I am Italian or definitively I'm from wherever?
No. There's a lot of steps that go in between, a lot of statistical interpretation and models, and whose genome your genome is being compared to.
Here's how it works. Our entire DNA is made up of 3 billion parts. Ancestry companies, though, look at less than 1% of those, about 700,000 sections where they know there are slight differences or variants among humans. Then they compare the patterns of your differences to groups of people in their databases. And with the help of math, they try to figure out which groups you most likely belong to.
It's not 100% sure. So statistics tell us in our model what's the best situation. It is a statistical guess.
Yeah.
It's an informed guess, but it's never a 100% sure thing.
Growing up, we were German.
Not a sure thing? That sure isn't the message here.
The big surprise was we're not German at all. 52% of my DNA comes from Scotland and Ireland. So I traded in my lederhosen for a kilt.
So you were shaking your head.
This one drives me nuts, and I saw it all of the time. Whether you want to wear lederhosen or something else is not tied to your DNA.
Okay.
Timothy Caulfield is a health policy professor who studies the ancestry business.
It's an exciting story, right? It's about you, right? And so I get why they're doing it, but is it really what's happening? Can they really be that accurate? I think they're selling something that isn't really supported by the science.
With 23andMe.com, you can find out your percentages of DNA from 31 populations around the world.
What do you think about the messages that are being sent to consumers?
I think it's misleading. These companies are really trying to push the idea that this is scientific, right? They are using scientific language and they present it in a way that looks very sciencey and precise.
Caulfield says what people are really buying is entertainment.
I think it's recreational science. They can have a little bit of fun with this stuff. Don't take it too seriously, but know that you are just getting some information that is an approximation of how your DNA compares to other people. It's not tracing back your heritage.
It's not tracing back your heritage. Okay. It's for entertainment. It's sciencey, and that's what kills me when these people come on these apps and they're like trying to talk about the DNA like they got it all broke down in their heads. How you breaking down a fake science? That's weird. How you breaking down something that don't make sense? Your foundation is your database. If you don't know who the original Indians be in the woodlands, if you don't have them exhumed, how are you going to tell me I ain't that?
Well, the basic statistical analysis, they use these words that we don't know nothing about to try to make themselves seem smart. That's what Negroes do all the time. Try to sound smart, but they sound dumb, kind of like how Umar Johnson sounds. You try to use these big words and try to sound like you read a book, and dumb as hell.
It kills me.
The Negro falls for that all the time. It kind of reminds me of a pastor talking, saying talking loud and saying nothing.
Yep. It's just weird. They're weird. But we are being, it's all about getting our minds on control. So this is the things they use. They use these things. They use roots. They use the DNA, right? The DNA got people transfixed. I know I'm African. Now they know it. Right? Now they know it. I know it. I know what I am. You ain't gonna tell me what I am. Okay, so I use the science. Okay, just like they've been using that term a lot lately, waving around that I got the science term a lot. They need to slow their roll with that. But the DNA, the roots, that's all bull crap. Okay, that is all Raisin in the Sun. That's one of your favorites. Let's go to that one.
Okay, so listen. So this will help a lot of people out. Do this. Okay, so earlier in the program, Lisa was showing a video of John Henry Clark talking. And everybody knows John Henry Clark is one of those people Malcolm X got all this information from. What we have to do and what we have to start doing is being simple in what we do. All you got to do is ask yourself, who taught John Henry Clark? Who was John Henry Clark's professors when he went to school? Once you do that, you'll learn everything you need to know. It's that simple. This is not hard work, guys. This shit is simple. It's right in your face. We just don't want to read or ask questions or have a dignified conversation or think. This stuff is right in your face. And we really shouldn't walking around here showing the world that we're this dumb. I'm talking about as a nation of people. All the people you see in the media, all of them, all the people, not all the people on social media, but most of the people are idiots. If you on mainstream media in America, you're basically an idiot. You mean to tell me Oprah Winfrey is a genius? Gayle King is a genius? Skip Gates is smart? No. They're there to keep you confused. That's it. All of them. And I'll go stand up to any one of them. Somebody else, man, well, how come you're never on these programs and stuff? They don't want people like us on there because we'll kill their storyboard. They lying to you. One of the most lucrative things in the world is to keep the Negro dumb. And that's what they do. Long as you don't know nothing, long as you don't think that you can do something for yourself, this young lady gonna ask me, well, what can we do? I mean, start trading with each other, start buying from start working with each other. It's just stop eating out of everybody's mouth, because that's what the Negro do. He go to everybody else to get whatever he needs on earth, but he looks past himself. Isn't that strange?
We didn't used to be that way. We just got that way. It's just the last 60 years we did that. We just integrated and lost our minds and act like we're dependents. We're just being a dependence. We were never dependents. We did have our own separate country. We just didn't know it. It's sad when you don't know what you have. But that's what happened to us. We were really our own viable, independent country. They called it segregation, but it was really our own viable country, And when we talk about how they try to get us, they try to make us think that what we had wasn't nothing and everybody else was winning. And this Raising in the Sun that Carrie likes to talk about is one of the initial things that they brought up. This play introduced the idea that Africa was the bomb, and that thought that we're from Africa again, where you're educating your parent to something that they ain't got no idea because it ain't true.
Where did Mama go this month? She had to run a little errand. Where? To tend to her business.
Hello. Yes, he is. It's Willie Harris again.
Hello, Willie. Papers come back from the lawyer? No, not yet. I told you, the mailman doesn't get here to 10:30. No, I'll come there. Yeah, right away.
Brother, where did Ruth go?
How should I know?
Better get over there behind the bureau. Seen one marching out of there like Napoleon yesterday.
There's really only one way to get rid of them, Mama.
How?
Set fire to this building. Mama, where did Ruth go?
To the doctor, I think.
The doctor? What's the matter with... You don't think she...
I ain't saying what I think. But I ain't never been wrong about no woman, neither.
Hello. Oh, when did you get back? Well, of course I missed you. In my way. This morning. No. House cleaning and all that. Mama hates it if I let people come over when the house is like this.
That's right.
You have? Oh, well, that's different. What is it? Oh. What the hell? Come on over. Right. Arrivederci.
Who's that you inviting over here with this house looking like this? You ain't got the pride you was born with.
Ossie guy doesn't care how houses look, Mama. He's an intellectual. Who? Ossie guy, Joseph Ossie guy. He's an African boy I met on campus. He's been studying in Canada.
What's his name?
Ossie guy, Joseph Ossie guy. Ooh, he's from Nigeria.
Oh, that's that little African country that was founded by the slaves way back.
No, Mama, that's Liberia.
But I don't think I never met no African before.
Well, do me a favor and don't ask him a whole lot of ignorant questions like, do they wear clothes?
Well, now, if you think we're so ignorant around here, maybe you shouldn't invite your friends here.
It's just that all anybody ever seems to know about when it comes to Africa is Tarzan.
Why should I know about Africa?
Why do you give money at church for the missionary work?
That's to help save people.
You mean save them from heathenism?
Yes.
Well, I'm afraid they need more salvation from the British and the French. Well, favor, and don't ask. It's my business. It's my business. Where's he gonna sleep, on the roof? Oh, gee, Ruth, I didn't.
So, I mean, and then they go on. She wraps her in the dashiki or whatever. Not a dashiki, because seriously, they just used to wrap. The clothes they have now are more whatever. But back in the day, all they did was take material and wrap it around themselves. That was what they wore up into the like 70s. Just recently it's gotten more stylish with the sleeves and all that. They didn't used to have that. You know what I mean? We're going to talk about that on another. We're going to break down just us versus them and how just the stark differences, and then the stark differences between us and Native. We're going to do that. We're going to do that on another live. But on this one,
you know why Danny Glover makes me sick. Every role he plays, he always looked like that old bumbling coon. But you remember a few years ago, he played in these films called, he was a cop.
Mm-hmm.
He was a cop with that actor. I don't know, I forget the actor's name, but he's an actor that was telling the Jews off and everything. Remember? It was a cop show.
I don't know. I probably didn't watch it.
But anyway, Danny Glover was the older cat out of the group, but the younger white dude was telling Danny Glover what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
I don't know. I didn't watch it. I obviously didn't watch it.
Yeah,
about 48 Hours.
Mel Gibson. Charles is right. What was that film that they played in, Charles? It was a film that they did, Lethal Weapon or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I did.
Danny
see it.
Glover was the senior
like
officer.
Sorry. Yeah.
But the younger cat was telling him what to do.
Of course, yeah.
I was like, damn, that's the kind of stuff that the African American Black deals in. That's how they live. Oh my God, I hate this one.
I'm sorry, but this is the stuff that they use to form our minds. This is the subtle influence they use to manipulate the masses. They use this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Murphy. Yeah.
No, I was talking about everybody. Yeah, I got them confused. Because they be always, we're gonna be cops and be ratchet, and then it's the 80s, so I just got them mixed up. But
right.
But I have my stuff loaded up. But please continue, because I also have something that's gonna counter all the coontivities. You know.
Okay, let me get this one coon thing. It's only I'm gonna go show it real briefly. It's just, I don't want you to, nobody get sick or nothing, All right, so we're gonna go ahead and just play this real quick. All right. Her sister not only is dressed like an African after living there, but she sound like one. How'd that happen? How did that happen? That's all I got to say. How not only does she sound African now. Like seriously, we gonna take on their voices and shit because she lived there for a few years. Come on now. I can't. And then they redid it to try to get people to be like, oh yeah, Africa, we all from Africa, we African queens and kings. Yeah, that's what they were trying to perpetuate. Mind control. Go ahead, Nate. You got it.
Do it. All right, so I'm gonna show this video. I don't know what to show first. Let me show some of these primary sources first, and then I'll show the video. All right, this is what I showed. Go ahead and start presenting. Let me just show the window because I ain't got time for that. All right. I'm gonna go here. All right. So this is one of the proper. This is like from the Massachusetts. Let me minimize. Dictionary of American Indian Place Names and Proper Names of New England. All right. And this is one of the place names. All right, Montaquia, right? But he was known as Black William. He was a Shechem. He was married to this person's daughter, right? This is one guy. This is several, right? This is in Massachusetts. This is like in the New England region. And these are the place names in that region, like right now, right? Here's another version of that same dude right here. If I can zoom in. All right, because I showed this to Pan-Africans, I've shown this to natives, and they want to kick me off the stage when I show this to people. Like when I show this on TikTok, they want me up out of there. All right. Massachusetts Nantick chief, also known as Black William, a ruler of an ancient Shechem comprising of Nahant and Swampset Wooded Isle. It's an island in Massachusetts. So this is one guy right there, right? And what I did this morning was like very devastating to them. Where is it? Keep reading. All right. What I did this morning was this. Indian grammar begins or begun, right? This is the Massachusetts Ornantic language. And as you can see, hold up, let me zoom in. In their language, they have a name for white man and black man, strong man, a strong leg, or wood or tree. This is in the Massachusetts language. So I remember I was on TikTok and they were like, oh, that doesn't mean that they were black. Well, why is this an adnoun describing themselves as being a black man? Where is the red man at? Right? This is from the older version, right? Adnoun, not a verb. Black man, white man, right? And then let's find another one. Let's look for, that's Black William. There's two versions of Black William. And look, there's Black Will. That's a separate guy. His name is totally different. And he has a problem with money. Poquaquamnum. Black Will. Shechem, who sold territory and Nantucket for a suit of clothes.
Oh, that was a shame.
That's some weird. Like what? All right, there's another one.
See, that's why we lose the world.
Like, why you selling that for clothes, sir? What you got going on?
Oh my God, for real, sir?
Like you sold it for clothes. And then where's the other dude? Black Will. All right, that's Black Will. Who was the other dude? Because another dude, I think he had gotten into a fight. I gotta find him. He had got into a fight. One of the other guys on here.
We also have that Accomack Black Boy ceremony.
Yeah, but we ain't talking about that. I'm keeping that to myself. Yeah. I mean, I can share a little bit, but no. I just want to show other areas that show, niggas. All right, there's that. Where's the other one? This one. This is from the Kingdom of Yakima right here. And this is a court record, right? And in the court record, let me zoom in. On February 19th, 1634, John Whitnam, age 24, Randall Revel, age 21 years, John Ford, age 25 years or thereabouts, sworn and examined, say they heard Henry Charlton say that if he had Mr. Carlton, the minister, without the churchyard, he would have kicked him over the palazzoons, calling of him black, rotted rascal.
Okay. Well,
Mr. Cotton was a minister, and he was referred to as what? A black, rotted rascal. Upon the complaint of Mr. Cotton against, saith Charlton, the dispositions above expressed, it is ordered that, say Charlton, in them several Sabbath days' time of divine service, asks for Mr. Carlton's forgiveness. Like these are the records we have, and he was called that. Like who would be called a black rotted rascal? Like who would that be?
It ain't a pale person, that's for sure.
Now where's the other one? And then I think there was another one on the next page. Let me see. That's one of them. Because I want to find the one about the canoe. That one was funny. If I can find that, that'd be great. I think this one, no, that's just something else. So I can find it. Back.
Oh, it's CNO.
Yep. So this is another record right here. They spelled it different, but hey. The records for 8th of September 1634, we find at this court Edward Drew referred the petition against Joanne Butler for calling his wife a ... Use that as like we don't even know it was that bad. They said, you know what? We're not even gonna say what she told that woman because it's that bad. And upon due examination in the dispositions of John Holloway and Beasley, who affirmeth the same on oath to be true, that say Joanne Butler used these words upon due examination, that it is thought fit by this board, that say Joanne Butler do acknowledge to have say Mary Drew ... called Mary Drew a ... and hereby I say and I have done her a manifest wrong, wherefore I desire before this congregation that they said Mary Drew will forgive me, and also that this congregation will join and pray with me that God may forgive me. The penalty provided by the court in the case of Joanne should fail to retract her rash statements as directed as that she should be drawn across. She should be drawn across Kings Creek at the stern of a canoe.
Oh, she gonna get daggone dragged. Oh, man, she gonna get
these are not
dragged.
These is Indians. Who's gonna
dragged
come on,
by
you know? Come on, dragged by the stern of a canoe. These white tea people? No, these is Indians. Black rotted rascal canoes. I mean, I feel like the punishments are pretty fair, you know. So now I'm gonna go on to this last thing right here. This is kind of like a breakdown. This is about a drug lord who vanished with $100 million. Frank Matthews, the FBI and CIA felt like, you know what? Frank is probably still alive and kicking, and then nothing we can do about it, right? So this talks about how much wealth we had at this time period. So I'm just gonna play it. Hold on, let me move these. They already had captions. All right, there we go.
Does it got sound? We don't hear it. I don't hear anything.
Say what?
I don't hear anything.
Okay. Dang. How did you fix yours? I have to drop down. Let me see.
I refreshed it like you said. That's what I did. I refreshed the button at the top.
Can you hear that?
Not yet. It's not playing though.
It was playing. Let me see.
No.
Let me see.
Wait a minute. Okay.
Maybe I can share it another way. Let me see.
You just refresh it. Let's see if you can.
I just did. I refreshed it.
Okay.
I dropped down. I'm gonna have to drop down to do it.
Or just put that down. Take that down and bring it back up maybe. But yeah, sometimes you gotta drop down.
Yeah, I might do that. Hold up. Let's stop. And then make us figure out how to get back. All right, I'm gonna drop down and then I'm gonna share it.
Because the thing about it is, we got to realize that they're using all kinds of devices to make us, to convince us that we are not the landlords, that this is not our country, that we are immigrants. The whole name of the game is to put us in immigrant status or to make us dependents, right? So either they want you to be an immigrant status where you're a foreigner, or they want you to be rightfully, or you can be rightfully, you could be an African American because that makes you a foreigner. You can always be that. You're always welcome, and you will be blessed if you remain an African American because you're a foreigner, and that's a wonderful thing. You can be an FBA, an NGA, a 2BA, or whatever you want to be, as long as you are not the people that are the landlords, the people that actually have rights on this land. The other thing you could be is you could be a Native American, because if you become recognized, then you're their dependent, right? You're under their control. You're under their control, and you don't own your land. Your land, even if they give you a lot of these people, they give 100, all the thousands of acres. They don't give that. That's under the trust of the United States government, the Parks Department, whatever. You cannot have control over it. That's why they want you to be recognized, because if you're recognized, then you're a dependent. Then they can control you. Then whatever they do give to you, they can say, well, no, you don't really own it. We really control it. It's under us. We are partnership. Then they use all these type of things to fly you away. You don't have your freedom. You don't have your land. You can't build on it. You can't take care of it like you want to, because you are a dependent of the United States corporation. That's what being recognized means. And you're doing it all for just a few pieces of silver. They'll throw a couple of biscuits your way. You'll get a little bit of health care. You might get access to a few grants, but that's just something that you might get. They may give you a little bit of money to shut you up. Who knows? But like I said, it's not the same of it's nothing compared to what they really owe us. It's nothing compared to the land that really belongs to us, you see. And that's the problem with us settling in that way. That's the problem with you compromising yourself. And compromising is what the name of the game. That's what they play with us. They play for the compromise. They play for us to consent. We consent, we compromise, their hands are clean because it was our decision. The thing about it is not to compromise and not to give consent. They don't like that. But that's the only way we're going to turn things around for ourselves, is that we do not compromise and we do not give consent. We have to call the shots. They've done so much damage to us. They have taken so much from us. They have been so brutal and so wicked and so freaking demonic in the things that they have done. They owe us. We can't be settling. We can't be compromising. We cannot give consent for some bull crap. And we have to leave this place better than when we came here for the people that come after us, not just the grandkids, but the people like us, the people that didn't know me, like what the ancestors did for all of us. They left the bag. They left the bag for us. It's up to us to have the balls to stand up, grab the bag, hold on to the bag. Don't let nobody take that bag from us. Keep a hold of it. Demand it. Get everything out that bag. Make sure you got everything in that bag and make sure you got everything that goes along with that bag. That's up to us to do. If we don't do it, we have not fulfilled our assignment. Now, you ready? Oh no. Hello?
Let me see. Hold on.
Oh yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So I mean, that's the thing. They play 3-card Marley like oh, we doing something for you. Oh, we doing the most. We got you going on. Like Obama built that trash museum and everything. We got to understand how they made us Negroes and slaves. They didn't dare go get us from Africa. So what did they do? They warred against us many, many times. Many wars are not even reported. They're not even recorded. We were fighting all the time. The Powhatan Anglo Wars, the Pequot Wars, the Seminole Wars, the War of 1812, the Revolutionary War. That's when they took over everything. That's when they really, all of Europe came and showed up and daggone sieged our land with all their boats. And we thought it was them two fighting each other. No, it was everybody fighting us. We just didn't know that's what the setup was. Everybody coming to our shores to fight us. That's what the secret idea was. What we need to do going forward is almost the anniversary of 1776. We need to protest against that. We ain't celebrating that shit. All that friggin' 1776 money, they need to give that to the Indians. That's fucked up. How dare they celebrate the daggone massacre and the theft of this country? Heck no. The other way that they have taken us down is debt bondage, and that's what we saw going on. That's what we see going on in the Eastern Shore. We like to shop, and like Carrie said, it's our fault. We didn't need to get that stuff. That's right. We love to shop. We like to trade. It was trade. Now it's shopping. And then for us, the way they got us in debt was they changed the exchange, just like they changed the money. They're going to change the money for us. They're going to screw us up too. They're going to change it. Something, crypto, I don't know, but they're going to change shit. And it's going to get us fucked up because that's how they do it. They changed from tobacco to silver. We didn't have silver. We were not silver miners. We like copper. We did mine for copper. We did love copper breastplates and things like that. And the copper was, our thing. But we were not, going and hunting into all territories for silver. And then when they said, "Oh no, we're not taking your tobacco no more, or your furs," now all of a sudden we in debt. Well, I got that daggone spinning wheel for my, my daughter. She got married. Well, you owe us now. Well, I get you my son to work for you. You see, that's why my son is in debt bondage till he's 30 or till he's for the next 5 years, whatever it is. That's how debt bondage. But then they made the debt bondage turn into forever slavery. Because they had these slave codes, and these slave codes said that if you were from a non-Christian parent, then you would be a forever slave. And that's how people got caught up. And that's why the daggone Nat Turner Wars happened, because the Nat Turner Indian Wars happened because Nat Turner had just turned 31. And he probably found out that he was not going to be set free. And probably a lot of people found out they were not going to be set free. And they were like, "Oh, heck no." And they were like, "These mother suckers got to go down," because we were still family. And we weren't like all slaves. We were free Indians. We were Negroes that were free. We had different levels of living. So a lot of us had guns and, all our apparatus and stuff. And so, yeah. You gonna keep me a forever slave? Oh no, it wasn't like y'all the way they tell it is. We were looking at the court information, and there's a law that said these Negroes can't you can't be at somebody else's plantation over for 4 hours. I'm like, a 4-hour break? What are these people doing at somebody's house at another plantation while you working for 4 hours? What kind of life were they living? They made a law that they can't be gone for more than 4 hours. I was like, okay, yeah, it's not what they say.
Oh, there was also a law where they were talking about whether you're outside or at church and you so happen to get pewed, it's your fault. Because they also said that the Chickahominy and another tribe also confirmed that they did have guns. And even in the Powhatan language, we have a word for gun. Right. So like it was a common occurrence for people who were there that were foreigners to get pewed by us. It was like it was a law. Like if you end up getting hurt or maimed or shot at their church or whatever by the Indian, it's kind of your fault.
They know we're out there, and they know we liable to do that, and they've been warned. That's the thing. Our Indian towns, they weren't supposed to be trampling around. So if they in our daggone purview, in our territory, in our going around our area, because they weren't supposed to build a fence within 5 miles of an Indian town, and everything was an Indian town. Shit. All of these shores in Indian town, you know what I mean? So it's all in Indian town. So basically you don't need to be having nothing over there. Really. That's the way it's designed. If you look at all our daggone patents, it's all patented up between our personal patents and our friggin' Accomack patents. Yeah, because we got family patents, whether you're a Bagwell or you're, Custis or whatever your people are. There's some of your people might be Johnson. Johnson still has patented land in Accomack and Northampton. So that's the thing. You got a patent, and that's your family stuff. If you start when we gather up all that stuff, we got a lot of territory covered, and that's the thing they don't want us to know. How much territory we really collectively have. And they done piecemealed a lot of heirs property away. A lot of people ask me about heirs property. That's down on the list. After the patents, then we got to deal with the heirs property that's been stolen. Then we got to deal with the tax. The property has been taken with the taxes because we shouldn't have been charged taxes no how. So all that stuff's got to be remedied. But it's a process. And that's why y'all need to get together on the Eastern Shore with me when I go to court on March 31st, and we have to deal with these people. Okay, you need to be present, and you need to know what's going on. So the slave laws in 1660 and 1662 and 1702 and all that, and 78, I forgot 1682. They said Christian, Negro, mulatto is your mother. If your mother is not Christian, you can be a slave forever. That's the way they did it. And then they changed the classification of your children. That's how they made people forever slave. That was a mechanism. They didn't need to bring people from Africa. They're going to have methods. They had war that made you a forever slave, a prisoner of war. They had debt that made you a slave. And then they had these slave codes. And the slave codes made out, they made free Indians and Negroes who were not chattel. They did that. And then the slave codes was a way slavery was legislated with trained, familiar, free labor that was really available from American Indians and not import. And also they use England's import of prisoners and orphans. That's what they use. They didn't use no Africans. There's no African interpreters. There's no African artifacts. There's no African nothing. There's no African shackles. If you ask anybody who farms, that's one slide I didn't do. If you ask anybody who's farms, what you see when you be plowing through the fields, the artifacts, what you be finding? You be finding shackles and stuff, chains. No, I ain't never found no chains. What you find? Oh, I find horseshoe. I said, okay, what else you find? I find lots of arrowheads. I said, oh, you find lots of arrowheads. You know what that means, right? You know what you find the most of, and you find the most recent. That's the most recent history. So you know that those arrowheads and them horseshoes tell you what was going on. It was a bunch of Indians riding horses, shooting their arrows. Ain't no damn shackles anywhere. In addition, the 18th and 19th century, all efforts were made to remove the American Indians, so that shipping potential Indian slaves out to Africa. Why would they do that? Why would they do that simultaneously while bringing in unwell, untrained Africans? How would that be rational to do that? To have Indians going out who know what's happening, who know how to do everything, who's well and competent and healthy, and then you're going to bring in some half alive, untrained, unwell Africans to do what they're shipping you out to Africa. Come on now. That's right. There's nothing about our culture that's African. That's a fact. That's a fact, Charles. Number 24, we did not disappear or fold, but we fighting harder and creating a people who have forgotten their identity, their rights, and their wealth. We don't know. We wouldn't be called asking for begging for reparations if we didn't know true history. If you know true history, you know white folks came here as slaves. They came here as prisoners. They came here as orphans. That's in the records. If you know true history, you would know, hey, we had the wealth. We've always had the wealth. We just lost the wealth. We ain't no poverty-stricken people. We just let it go when we open up our hands to get something that was an empty promise. And then as soon as we open up our hand to integration, they poured all these immigrants in here to take everything they had. Everything we had is been handed over to foreigners. Why? Because they never want us to have anything. They don't want us to be able to build back anything that they've destroyed. Yeah, our Accomack Empire was severed. It was severed just like the head of the king, Vagina. The Accomack are still holding on to land, and we're convinced to join. We were convinced to join the revolution. That's what they did. They tricked us. That revolution, I told you, do not celebrate it. And we need to send letters of protest to all these agencies. This thing should not be celebrated. Okay, this is some bull crap. It's an atrocity, that daggone revolution. And yeah, my ancestors were in the revolution, but they were had. They thought they were picking a side, and that it would be like, oh, we get rid of assholes. But all the assholes were in on it together. The revolutionary was a trick that stole our nation and allowed the entire world to converge against the American Indians. The Accomacs were convinced that those loyal to Britain must leave, go to Nova Scotia. We were told that then once we got to Nova Scotia and we were freezing our butts off, they said, oh, there's a warmer, better place we're going to send it to. We thought it might be Florida. Them assholes sent us to Sierra Leone. So part of the Accomack are in Sierra Leone to this day. I haven't been reaching out. I don't know if these people are receptive because they probably weird and shit. I don't know. But, part of our people are in Sierra Leone. They may be dead because what I was told is a lot of them, the Africans fought us when we got there. And so many of our people may be unalive. Then there was a removal of American Indians to Liberia. I said Liberian. Okay, well, forgive me. In 1812. Now that we were putting that too. The Accomacs were part of that too. Remember, the Accomacs are the Powhatans. The Powhatans are the Accomacs, and that includes territory from Florida up from Florida to Canada and out to daggone the Mississippi. Removal of American Indians to Liberia, and then the Indian Removal Act of 1830. You got to understand the 1830 Indian Removal Act really was and coincided with the Trail of Tears and the Nat Turner War. Okay, Nat Turner called mass removal. Okay, and the Trail of Tears, they exiled a lot of woodland Indians, and some of those fake civilized tribes got removed as well. But they actually did an illegal removal of the Accomack Powhatan Reservation, because the reality is, I guess everybody is actually illegal because of the law that does. There's many laws that does say that is illegal. Let me see if I got the non-intercourse. Oh, let me see. Ooh, child. I'm going to add this to the party because we're going to add it. Here we go. Share. All right. So the Non-Intercourse Act, also known as the Indian Intercourse Act, the Indian Non-Intercourse Act, name given to statutes that were passed by the U.S. Congress, and all these years, 1790, 1793, 1796, 1799, 1802, and 1834. So you name it, they kept re-upping this Non-Intercourse Act, and it says that it was regulation between the white Americans and the indigenous nations. And the provision says to regulate the inalienability of aboriginal title. That means you can't get a hold of our land. They also added the Royal Proclamation of 1763. That's part of this too. And the Confederation Congress Proclamation of 1783. That's all a part of this. That says, first of all, you can't have it. You can't convert. There's no expiration to our land. And these states cannot be taking our land over. They cannot do it. Look at this. There's South Carolina versus the Catawba Indian tribe in 1986. Noted that the 1793 Act expanded the scope and not applying to the prohibition not only to lands but claims. Okay. No sale made by Indians or any nation of Indians within the United States shall be valid to any person or persons or state. It's not valid. That's why are you jailing me for claiming what you stole? No sale shall be valid. They could not take the Accomack land or detribalize us. The states don't have that authority. They lie. And just because they put it in books, just because they put it in history books, just because they put it on the internet, just because they put it in record, that doesn't make the lie true. They are lying. They do corrupt the law. They are breaking the law. Period. They're breaking the law. The lawbreakers. They would call it, of course, weirdos. Yeah, right. Hey, they probably because they feel like they're getting screwed, and you are. No, they're not. They're not getting screwed because they have no business here anyway in the first place. Right. All right. So that was an illegal removal in 1850. You see the Non-Intercourse Act. They just broke all that. They broke that all up. They violate. They do violate. So then it wasn't enough that they did all that stuff in the 17 and the 1800s, and they did all the daggone, changing of the money and debt bondage in the 1600s. Well, then they had to re-up the ante in the 1900s. In the 1900s, they did the Racial Integrity Act because that good old Woodrow Wilson revamped the whole education system. So that's why you don't trust nothing. You got to look like with one eye shut, anything written, past the 1830s or Indian Removal Act, because it could be highly tampered with. So you got to just like close your eyes, wink a little bit, pinch it up, because you can't fully trust this stuff that's written by people. So when people sit up there and use these sources that are done in 1950, I look at them all side-eye because I'm like, you believe that stuff? This stuff is all tainted. Okay, you gotta be careful with that. Pan-African, came out of eugenics. That all was born out of this time, this era. They reclassified the Negro one. They got our leaders all in a daggone, in a chokehold, thinking the answer to their life was being African, and all they wanted to do was preach the African news because they were getting a check, compensation for it. Marcus Garvey, he pimped and seduced too, and into leaving and pleased us into leaving our own homeland, and it worked for some of us. So the same thing, that same American Colonization Society that organized the removal of the Accomacs and to Sierra Leone and other Indians to Sierra Leone and other Indians to Liberia. That was the American Colonization Act. They claim that don't exist anymore. That's a damn lie. I don't believe it. That American Colonization Act is alive and well, organized by the daggone Daughters of the Revolution and these real estate corporations. These people are all in cahoots, okay? They working to keep us from getting our land. That is the name of the game. Walter Plecker criminalized us for claiming our American Indian identity. When Woodrow Wilson promoted The Birth of a Nation, and that film was actually written by a guy who lived in Cape Charles, Virginia, in the Eastern Shore. He was in New York. He was by-city person. He used to take the train. He was a daggone minister of all things. Think about it. Oh, does it make sense now? Does it make sense? The guy who wrote the book for Birth of a Nation was a minister, and he would go to New York on a weekend and preach, and then come back to the Eastern Shore and write this daggone hateful stuff. He wrote that book. Wilson showed the movie in the White House, right? They ran that movie for 2 years, Birth of a Nation, so everybody could get a piece of energy that they wanted to daggone destroy the Indian, okay? That's why at that time, after that time, we see the bombings and the flooding and the burning of towns and businesses and churches and homes, and the government helped. After he let loose that Birth of a Nation, and they showed it over and over, they added extra showing times, extra trains ran to bring the folks to see it. They promoted this mind control, got the crazy new immigrants, because they want to stay in this country. They living in poverty. They living in sewers and shit. Excuse me. They living in this filth. Okay. They want this good life that they see these Negroes got. Okay. And so they gonna beat our butts. They don't care. They'll do what they told to do. And that's why you had such a strong clan, because they were desperate people pushed off the streets of Europe. And that's what they're doing to us now. Understand that we're in another revamping of this 1920 thing. They're giving us the whole black out of Africa people pushing us down. They're making the Native Americans. They're actually aggravating them against us, right? And then in addition to that, we got all these foreigners coming in. Same thing with all this desperate agenda. By any means necessary, they want to win, right? These nasty Africans and nasty, they're going everything. Everybody coming in with a nasty attitude towards the Indians. Why? Because that's what their job is. That's what. Right now, we ain't got all the stuff. We ain't got the hospitals and the businesses and the farmland, and we don't have a lot to take. We ain't got shit because we let it all go around integration. Around that, we just we don't need that anymore. Why we need a black hospital? Why we need a black school? We got these on there. Why do we need this? Why we need that? I don't need to go to your restaurant. I can go to any restaurant. That's what killed it all. We were tricked by the integration into letting go of our businesses and schools and our hospitals and our banks and our land. But that's why we have to build back. We have to build back. Because the new immigrants have more than us. Now we got daggone Pakistans that have more hospitals than we ain't got number one. We used to have, I used to say we have 200, we used to have 200 Negro hospitals, Indian hospitals. That ain't even true. We actually had 500. I just found an article that says, yeah, they did a study. It's 500 hospitals that we lost. Okay, 500. Yes, sirree. So how in the world we lost 500 hospitals, and now these daggone Southeast Asian Pakistani people got hundreds of hospitals, and they ain't been here. They only got here after the 80s, like in the 90s. But they went in like that. They went in that fast on our dime, off of our money, off of our blood, off of our land. Y'all don't feel some kind of way about that? I'm not trying to get people, radicalize people into being mad at somebody, but I think what needs to be done is you need to be mad at yourself. We need to be mad at ourselves. We need to get up off our asses and do something. And you can start by showing up on the 31st of March on the Eastern Shore at the Northampton Courthouse in Eastville, Virginia at 8:30, because we're not going to let these people keep what they've stolen. And when we win, everybody wins, because that's how it goes. They try to stop one of us, they stop all of us. We win, we continue to win. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. That's just it. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. That's just what it is.
All right, I think I got something. Who did I want to share? It's gonna be real light, so I will start. All right. Let me go here. Not here. Where am I starting? I was gonna look for Oskala because they had this place name about him. So if I can find it. Where is it? Oh, what the? It's somewhere. I'll find it later. All right. So the next thing I want to look at is this. I'm gonna zoom in. All right. So this is a rite of passage, and it's specific to Maryland and Virginia, but it might be further than Maryland, Virginia going forward because of it actually being a surname. Keep in mind this surname. See this right here, Bowman, right here. All right, so I'm gonna read it. It says, the children live with their parents, the boys until they come of full growth of men, for they reckon not by the years as we do, or whatever the case. Then they are put into a number of bowmen and are called black boys, and continue until they take them wives. When they are made to be black boys, the ancient men that govern the younger tell them that if they will be vigilant, obedient to their werewants, I don't know if that's wives or wazoos, kukurusus, and then their God will love them. And the men will esteem to them, and they shall kill deer, turkeys, and fish. Now, I could go further with this, but I want to show something visual because it helps, right? So this is William Henry, 1860, 1900. This is a engraving. No, I zoomed in too much. Hold on. All right. This is supposed to be the area of Boston, but Boston used to be Akamiticus. All right, one of my people. This is Boston. This is like a little engravement depicting the Indians of Boston, right? They kind of look like black boys. Their hair isn't straight. Yeah, these are black boys. And then this is on Encyclopedia Virginia.
Excuse me. Could you go back to that picture one time, please?
Yeah. Hold up.
This is how they got you. This is how they got you. It still goes on today. You think that dude sold his land for a suit? What did he give up for one of them? So when you're always talking like you know everything, this is how you lost it, cuz. This is exactly how you lost it. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, so this is one of the maps from 1671. Keep in mind, Anthony Johnson was at large. Casser was a thing. Black Will, Black William, Blind Will, all these different people across the Eastern Seaboard were in existence at the same time in 1671, right? This map of the Chesapeake Bay region includes a caricature of portraying two Indians with the llama, a unicorn, goats, animals. Some European thought were natives to Virginia, but not really a thought because, like, we actually did have llamas at one point, but they kind of took, they either were stolen. We had llamas and we had camels, surprisingly. Engraved in Amsterdam, the map was prepared for inclusion in the Dutch edition of Arnold Montanus no, I'm not saying that. I'm not Dutch. The first encyclopedia of Americas. Rich with geographical detail, the map includes the location of Indian villages as well as an English settlement at Jamestown, seen at the curving section of the Powhatan, now James River. This map is a variation on attributed English settler Captain John Smith from 1612. This is the map. These is the Negroes right here. You see them? So when I say black boy or bowman, he has a bow in his hand, right? So this is his little homie back here. He's probably a black boy. This one probably has a better status than this one. The dude behind this one is the black boy. But you got to keep in mind, if you're gonna be any type of leadership in any nation in that region, you have to start from the ground up, right? If you want to be a werewants, any of that, a Montawick, whatever, you have to start from the ground up, which means you will become a black boy. That's just what it is. That's just how it goes, right? And there was a recording of these ceremonies happening as early as, well, they always happen, but I think they had one in 1615 that was recorded, so that's gonna kill the 1619 thing. Now, like I said, remember, I mentioned Bowman, right? Look at this. Quando Rondo, Taquan Terrell Bowman. He's from Savannah. He's from Savannah, Georgia. And I actually did some work in Savannah, and we were at a hotel. And there was another lady that was at the front desk who was also a Bowman. I feel like it's clear as day. I feel like I don't have to say too much. Like, his last name is Bowen. Bowman, of all things. This is Quando Rondo right here. He's a Bowman. He's a Bowman from Savannah, Georgia. Savannah is a marshy place. He's a marshy Negro Indian. Like, I don't know what else. He's a marshy Negro Indian. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's pretty clear as day, I feel like.
Georgia Indians. Cool.
I have a question. You mean to tell me all these cats that's teaching this Pan-African history in school, they don't know none of this?
They don't want to know.
So this is what I'm saying. When you think you know something, you don't know shit. And remember, you're passing down the shit to your kids and grandkids and everybody else.
You're taking you're eating out the mouth of the oppressor. You know how birds be like, baby birds be like, the bird chews it all up and brings it back, and then the babies eat out of the mama's mouth. Or you eating out the mouth of the oppressor. Is that cool? You trusting everything that they carrying over to you? Is that wise? You not checking it out? Is that food or is that doo-doo? I don't know what that is. I gotta smell it. I gotta examine it. I gotta look into it. I gotta inspect it. I don't trust you bringing me. Maybe I better go. I think I'll eat this bug over here on the side of the tree. I'll do that. We have to protect ourselves, but also when you open up yourself to things that are dangerous because you taking things from the oppressor, you endanger the whole nation. You endanger the whole nation. People that they're going want to be in bed and league with the enemy, they endanger the nation. That's why I have a problem with people that sit up there and say they want to be on my support me, but at the same time they licking the enemy in the mouth. You can't support me and you licking the enemy in the mouth. You can't lick the oppressor in the mouth and say you're down to help me. I don't want that help. I don't want it. Keep that. Yeah, keep that for sure. Because you don't know what's good. See, that's the other thing. You can't trust the people know what's good. They trying to give you foo-foo. You don't want no foo-foo. That's good to them. But if they trying to feed you foo-foo because they think they're African, I don't want that. That's not nourishing to me. It doesn't nourish me and make me smile. It makes me ill and I don't want it.
Yeah. And I would like to point out a lot of different agents. Like, okay, I don't know if it's Haley or Chloe. I think it's Chloe. They're sisters. They sing. They're from Mableton, Georgia, and they're Baileys. One of these Baileys decided, I'm gonna date Mr. Pan-African Burna Boy. He don't look like a Nigerian to me. He look like a freaking ancient Berber to me. And they had a whole little interview. She's like, oh yeah, I went to Nigeria. I had a good time and all this nonsense. There's so many. You know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and go on a rant because there's several and you need to be able to see the difference. So can I share screen? Let me see. Because I'm sharing my screen, but it's not showing I'm sharing it. Let me try.
It's down below. You got to pull it up to the stage. Though.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna do this again. There's this one. Okay. I gotta pull it up.
Yeah, you gotta bring it up. Because if you have it down there and it's down there, you got to make sure you add it to the stage. Go hover over and it says add to the stage. Click it. Click your box if is that what you have? Or are you just trying to show the internet? If you're trying to show the internet, you got to go to present, go to share screen, and then find that tab.
Okay, you see it?
No.
No. Can you see it?
What? I don't see nothing. Now I see, of course.
Okay. All right. So this, let me try to zoom in. That's the wrong one. No, that's the wrong one. Okay. Where is it?
Yeah, I gotta go to bed soon.
Okay, so this is Osceola Island right here. It's in Plymouth County, Mountain Berkshire County, Massachusetts, Mountain Grattan County, New Hampshire. Derives from Osceolo, a black drink, the Seminole term applied to the famous leader of that tribe. So they have a whole Osceola Island. But somehow they knew about Osceola all the way in Massachusetts, which is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
You go on. You go on. You can share some more.
okay. All right. So let me find something else. All right. Now I'm gonna go. So there's a few people. I'm just gonna pull them up. There's a few rappers that are cosplaying as American Indian. This is one of them. She is Nigerian. She goes by Jen Carter, which is like one of the first black families in America. Right? This is one person. Then you got this person. Who's also a rapper. I don't know if his picture is going to show. I just want to see the picture. He's also Nigerian himself. But his name is Wolfface Joey. But you know, they got them weird names. So it's weird that they're using these weird, like these basic American names, and they're just kind of mimicking. Where's Kyle? Kyle Rich is another one. Kyle Rich is also another person who's a rapper, who's Nigerian, who's like, yeah, I'm American. Where is he? There he is. That's him. But he's also Nigerian, who stayed in New York, who's using a lot of New York American Indian vernacular and trying to blend in. But I mean, when you look at him, I'm not convinced. There's another person who learned from, what is his name? Quan. His name is Pappy. He's a YouTube person. Pappy. Q Pappy. So he's not African. He's American. He's from Atlanta. He's a YouTube celebrity or whatever, right? But there's another guy who actually copies Pappy. And he does like car videos and stuff like that. That is not Quan. What is his name? I don't know. Yeah, his name. Q Pappy. Yeah, this is him right here. Ugly ass outfit. But he does a lot of videos about cars and stuff like that and purses and whatever the heck. But he has a lot of content and a lot of fans. But he's American Indian. But there's a dude that copied him. And the dude that copied him where am I? And the dude that copied him, he is Senegalese. And his name is Puppy Zook. And Pappy Zook, where is he? TikTok maybe. I'll just go on YouTube because YouTube has it. They're both on YouTube. So there's so many people that are like literally riding our coattails. It's so weird. This is another person right here. So his name, I need to hear that. His name is Pappy Zook, and he's Nigerian. He's a right. Similar type of store, similar type of, I'm gonna buy this car for this amount of money. I'm gonna wear these clothes, but he pretty much copied Poppy Q from Atlanta. The same thing, you know. Like this is a ongoing thing. There's several of them. I just found a couple, but there's more that are, you know. Oh, there's another one. Blackie Speaks. Blackie Speaks. He is Ethiopian, and he talks about hip hop. This is Blackie Speaks. I think he made a video, a music video earlier. I think I just seen it though. Let me see. Right here. This is Pappy.
No, Lucid Dreams.
No. I don't need to see your face. Where's his actual video? Because he made a music video. You can see his face. So you know.
Make sure we don't get Right.
Okay, that's why I'm not playing. That's why I just paused the song or whatever. So this is Blackie Speaks. See how he goes by Blackie, and he's an Ethiopian. So it's like they kind of hide underneath that black title, but he himself is Ethiopian. But all he talks about is what? American Indians.
Really?
That's all he
Wow.
talks about is American Indians.
Hmm.
And there are several content creators that just talk about American Indians. There's another one, Foreign Fridays, right? He's I think he's Nigerian. All he talks about is what? Nick, you know what I'm saying? Like, same thing. There's so many, and they literally benefit off of us. They're no different than an Adam 22. They're no different than a Trap Lord Ross. They're no different. They really are no different. Where's another one? But I mean, this is an ongoing thing. Like, I've showed you a couple. There's rappers. There's some that are mixed, but that's different. But there's
Right. We
rappers.
can't have nothing. This don't make no sense. These people are predators. They're just
Literally
ridiculous.
predators. There's I was looking at this gospel. What's her
Original
name?
copper. That don't make no sense.
Like, there's so many of them. That's just one. That's just a few. There's several. There's ones that talk about, oh, baby mama this, baby mama that, and meanwhile they Nigerian talking about us. So when you look at these YouTube people, you got to make sure that you know that they are actually, if they say they're Black American or they're from Mississippi, you know, that you gotta check them, because not every single one of these people that are content creators are really one of y'all. Like, there's so many. That's only the only few amount that I seen. But there are several. There's also a girl. There's a few Nigerian women that kind of blackfish and talk about the same type of stuff that Blackie Speaks talks about. So literally everybody eats off of us. And then when we call them out on it, what they do, they get mad. Well, everybody's black. Well, if the cops come come to us and you get arrested, they're gonna say when you get arrested, it's gonna say white.
When the cops come, they're gonna have an accent, and they're gonna make sure the cop knows that they're Nigerian for sure. So that's the difference.
And a lot of Nigerians get booked as white, and the Ethiopians get booked as white, and they be burnt as hell. So they're not one of our peoples.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you know, they know that we're not really African, but yet they want to fight us on the topic, right? And yet our own people, they want to fight us and say that we're, you just hate your African self. We just hate our African self. No, we just love ourselves, and we love our grandparents and our parents that told us the truth. That's what we're respecting. We're respecting our genealogy. We're respecting our ancestors. We're respecting our records. You know, what are you basing it upon? A daggone test for entertainment? A daggone movie you saw? You know, what are you basing this upon? You ain't got no statistical scientific data that you're really basing anything on. You ain't got no primary records you're basing anything on. You don't have your own family that you're basing it on. You just want to believe what the eugenicists teach. That's all. And all the eugenicists are trying to do is keep stealing your land and keep you off of it. Our job is to make sure that they don't get to keep a damn thing. Our job is to make sure we get all our things back, and that we all prosper the way we've been prospering and the way we're meant to prosper. That's what needs to happen. We need to get better, get back and get better. Not that we want everybody to crash and burn. People don't have to crash and burn, but you don't need to be standing in the way of us getting what is ours. You really don't. You need to stand back. It's time. Your time is up. If you didn't collect enough coins and riches from the time you've had this stolen property, then that's unfortunate, but that's just the fact of the matter, that when you do illegal stuff, if the table was turned and it was us doing illegal stuff in your homeland, they would crucify us. It wouldn't even be a conversation. Oh my God, I shudder to think, if the tables were turned, how horribly we would be treated if we did this to another people, what they did to us. It would be, ugh, it would be disgusting. It would be just, wicked. Anyway, we have kind hearts, we have loving spirits, so they're very fortunate that we have these forgiving, loving spirits and these loving hearts, and that, we have great natures. So when we get ours back, everybody's going to benefit anyway, because that's just the way we roll. So they don't have anything to be concerned about in that sense, but they do have a concern with them being wicked and them being corrupt, and they're trying to daggone keep us for what is destined to be returned to us right now. They're not going to win at that. Anyway, like I said, y'all, all I can tell you is that, make sure you are, get yourself to the Eastern Shore. There is an Eventbrite that you need to know about, because we got a court date summit on March 31st, and you need to be there. It is, you just need to show up. It's not, pay-per-view, but just show up, because we need to show up, show out, and show support on what this is happening. They're trying to make what I am doing and have been doing since 2021, which is claim the Accomack patented land back to the Accomack. They're trying to deem the same quit claims as a fraud and as a crime. It wasn't a crime. The same quit claims wasn't a crime in 2021. So how the heck can they be a crime now? Stop trying to bully, stop trying to intimidate, and stop trying to terrorize. This is wrong. Jailing a damn freaking 60-year-old nurse is evil. You guys are sad. Okay, this has got to stop. You guys have a great day. Stay warm, stay safe, and Anna, until the
Stay
next
off
time.
the road. Stay off the
road.
road. You know you can't
Stay
drive.
safe.
You don't know you can't drive. Stay off the road. You ain't got
don't
no
know you
tire chains. You don't have no salt, and you ain't got no traction in them tires. Go sit down,
Probably
please.
no
For all of
traction.
you. And yourself.
Yeah. You probably ain't got no traction for real. But stay off the road. It's not fun to see how you're gonna do on the road. Oh, I want to test out how I'm gonna be on the road. I want to see how the roads are because I'm bored. No, that stuff is stupid. Because I gotta go to work tonight, and I don't want to be on the road with some idiot that's just trying to see how the roads are. Oh, let me see how the roads are. No, I got to get to work safely, and I got to get back safely. So I'm not trying to be on the road with people that just joy riding on the snow because they got a few days off. Don't do that. Stay home, stay safe, enjoy the weather from the inside. Peace, Anna.
Anna.